Yeah.
in a northern province of Chiang Mai, situated on the banks of a river. It made a convenient stopover for river traders and passengers throughout most of the year. A few barges, rafts, and sometimes even a large sailboat could usually be found moored at Fang. But all that was long ago, before the creation of the Trial of Champions. Now, once a year, the river is crowned with boats as people arrive from hundreds of miles around, hoping to witness the breaking of an ancient tradition and see a victor in the Trial of Champions.
Go for the long edition because that's river.
Deep in the hillside, behind the town, lies a challenge created by a powerful baron of Fang called Succumbit, a labyrinth filled with deadly tricks, traps, and loathsome monsters from which there is only one exit. Each year, warriors and heroes come to Fang to face the Trial of Champions. Survival is unlikely, yet many take the risk, for the prize is great. A purse of 10,000 gold pieces and the freedom of Chiang Mai forever. This year, you will attempt what has become known as the Walk, attracted to it for the simple fact that nobody has ever yet emerged victorious. In the morning, you see Baron Succumbit himself, with 5 others standing proudly in line, the violet scars displayed for all to see. There are 2 bare-chested barbarians dressed in furs, a sleek elven woman with golden hair and feline green eyes, a man covered head to foot in iron-plated armor, with a plumed helmet and a crested shield, and another cloaked in black robes with only his dark eyes showing between the swaths of his black face scars. A hush falls over the crowd as Baron Succumbit steps forward holding 6 bamboo sticks. You draw one from his outstretched hand and read the word 5th. The knight enters first. He salutes the crowd before disappearing into the tunnel. He is followed half an hour later by the elf, then a barbarian, and the dark assassin. Next, it's your turn. But before embarking on your adventure, we must first determine your own strengths and weaknesses. You have in your possession a sword, a shield, and a backpack for carrying provisions for the trip. You have been preparing for your quest by training yourself in swordplay and exercising vigorously. To see how effective your preparations have been, dice will be rolled to determine your skill, stamina, and luck scores. Or, if you wish to begin your adventure immediately, you can choose between 3 ready-made adventurers.
I did forget to mention there are a maximum of 6 rerolls between skill, stamina, and luck for this. That's
Okay.
the sort of requirement I give the others, but they seem to be not too bad. So, would you like to roll or?
Yeah, let's roll.
Yeah.
First, we'll roll for your initial level of skill. This reflects your sword skill and fighting expertise, and will be determined by rolling 1 die and adding 6.
Too bad. Would you like to re-roll or continue on?
I'll keep that.
Yeah.
Next, we'll roll for your initial stamina, which represents your strength. So the higher your stamina score, the longer you will survive. This will be determined by rolling 2 dice and adding 12.
8. Just try a reroll or?
Yeah, reroll.
Yeah. 7.
Reroll.
Reroll again. Okay, let's reroll 2 now. 9.
Reroll.
Okay, that's rolls. 6.
One more.
One more. 7.
One more.
5th, so you only get 9 again.
I'll
You've
keep that then.
One
Yeah, I'll keep that.
reroll left now.
Next, we'll roll for your initial luck,
Oh, hopefully you get
which
a lucky roll
represents
here.
how lucky an adventurer you are. Luck and magic are facts of life in the fantasy world you're about to explore. This is determined by rolling 1 die and adding 6.
3, would you like to use your last reroll?
I would like to, yes.
And here comes the 1. Oh, I shouldn't.
Damn it! Oh, that's it then.
I feel like I jinxed you, so I'm going to give you 1 more reroll. Okay, we're back to 9.
That's fine, that's fine.
Okay.
You may also take a magical potion with you to aid you on your quest. Each bottle of potion contains 2 measures, so can be used twice during an adventure. You can choose from a potion of skill that restores your skill points to their initial amount, a potion of strength that restores your stamina points to their initial amount, or a potion of fortune that not only restores your luck points to their initial amount, but will also increase your initial luck score by 1 each time it's used.
One you want to take here, but which potion would you like?
So the potion of skill resets all of them?
No, just the
skill. Right, okay.
Yeah, so they each do their own, but the
Ah,
fortune
right.
one gives you an
Okay.
extra one.
I'll choose the strength.
Yeah.
Lastly, before you begin your quest, you are given enough provisions for 10 meals. When you eat a meal, your stamina score will increase by 4 points. But don't forget, your stamina can never exceed the initial amounts you've just set. You have a long way to go, so use your provisions wisely. During your adventure,
Right, this is just the battle thing you're talking about.
you
which
are
we've
playing.
been over beforehand, so
Okie dokie.
Now it is your turn to salute the crowd. Holding your violet scarf aloft, you take one final deep breath of cool, fresh air before turning to pass between the stone-pillared gateway into Circumvit's corridors of power to face unknown
Maybe a
perils
bit
on the
loud.
walk through the mighty Baron's Deathtrap dungeon.
Ooh.
loud, but it doesn't last for too long.
The clamour of the excited spectators gradually fades behind you as you venture deep into the gloom of the cavern. Large crystals hang from the tunnel roof at 20-meter intervals, radiating just enough soft light for you to see your way. As your eyes gradually become accustomed to the near darkness, you begin to see movement all around. Spiders and beetles crawling up and down the chiseled walls disappear quickly into cracks and crevices as they sense your approach. Rats and mice scurry along the floor ahead of you. Droplets of water drip into small pools with an eerie plopping sound which echoes down the tunnel. The air is cold, moist, and dank. After walking slowly along the tunnel for about 5 minutes, you arrive at a stone table standing against the wall to your left. On it, there are 6 boxes, one of which has your name painted on its lid.
Right, before I make this initial choice, I'm just going to say 2 wee things. Firstly, your provisions you can use at any time. I know you're at full health right now, but just say whenever you want to use provision. You can do it during battle, but it's always here. And then, secondly, this is the map which will gradually fill out as you move forward in. So if you want to see the map, just let me know. But would you like to open the box with your name on it, or continue walking north?
I would like to open it, please.
Yeah.
The lid of the box lifts off easily, and inside you find 2 gold pieces and a note written on a small piece of parchment addressed to you. After placing the gold in your pocket, you read the message, which says, "Well done. At least you had the sense to stop and take advantage of the token aid given to you. Now I can advise you that you will need to find and use several items if you hope to pass triumphantly through my Deathtrap dungeon. Signed, Succumvit." Memorizing the advice on the note, you tear it into tiny pieces and continue north along the tunnel, where you come to a junction. A white arrow painted on one wall points west. On the floor, you can see wet footprints made by those who entered before you. It's hard to be sure, but it looks as though 3 of them followed the direction of the arrow, while 1 decided to go east.
To follow the majority and head west. Follow the lone footprints and go east.
East.
Yeah.
Ahead, you can see a large obstruction on the tunnel floor. Although it is too dark to make out exactly what it is, the wet eastbound footprints you have been following carry on towards the obstruction.
Would you like to continue west, or go back west, or continue east?
I'd like to continue.
You see that the obstruction is a large brown boulder-like object. You touch it with your hand and are surprised to find that it is soft and spongy.
Climb over the soft sponge, or slice it open with your sword.
Climb over it.
Yeah.
You clamber onto the soft boulder, half expecting to be engulfed by it at any moment. Getting over it is difficult, as your limbs sink into its soft casing, but eventually you manage to struggle over it, relieved to be back on firm ground. You press on east, where the tunnel makes a turn to the left and heads north for as far as you can see. The footprints you are following start to peter out as the tunnel becomes gradually drier. Soon, you are beyond the dripping roof and the pools on the floor. You notice the air becoming hotter, and you find yourself panting even though you are walking quite slowly. In a small recess on the left-hand wall, you see a section of bamboo standing on its end. Lifting it down, you see it is filled with a clear liquid. Your throat is painfully dry, and you feel a little dizzy from the heat in the tunnel.
Drink the clear liquid, or continue north.
What? Fuck it, I'll drink it.
Okay.
The water in the bamboo pipe is welcomely refreshing and adds 1 stamina point.
Although you're
It also
doesn't matter.
contains a magical solution, which will enable you to be exposed to melting point temperatures without harm. Discarding the bamboo, you start off north again, in good spirits. You find yourself dripping with sweat as the temperature continues to rise. As you struggle on, the heat intensifies until it becomes so unbearable that you feel yourself begin to pass out. Although the
Uh-oh.
temperature in the tunnel is higher than you could normally tolerate, the liquid from the bamboo pipe keeps you alive, and mercifully, after a few moments, the temperature drops rapidly and soon feels almost cool again. On the left-hand side of the tunnel is a closed door. It has a small iron plate in it, which looks like it might slide open.
Your choices now. You can either open the door, slide the iron plate, or leave it and continue north.
I'll leave it and continue.
Yeah.
Ahead, you see that the tunnel turns sharply to the left. You turn a corner and almost bump straight into two fierce-looking orcs, armed with morning stars and wearing leather armor. You are totally unprepared for them and struggle to ready your weapons. The orcs roar. And as you draw your sword, one of them swings its morning star at you, which thuds into your arm, knocking your sword to the floor. You must fight them barehanded, reducing your skill by 4 for the duration of the combat. Fortunately, the tunnel is too narrow for both orcs to attack you at once, so you fight them, one at a time.
Okay, so this is the fighting scenario. It will be mostly attacking for...
You
5
hurl
seconds.
yourself at your enemy,
Oh, 12 now.
fists
You're the
flailing,
white dice, enemies are
and
the
land
red
a
dice.
stunning blow.
Okay.
The majority of it will just be attack because
You
there's no
drop
need
to the
Yeah,
ground,
yeah, yeah.
sweeping away the orc's legs.
If you ever want to,
Its
just
head hits the ground
but I'll just
hard
try and get
with a
through most of
sickening
the thing.
crunch. You duck under the orc's morning star,
you lost the
grab
roll,
it,
but you've got better skills.
and ram its
so
head hard into the wall.
flawless victory.
Nice.
The first orc slumps lifeless to the floor, so you turn your attention to the other.
Well, hopefully
You
get
parry,
decent rolls. Oh, that's
But your
close.
enemy is too fast, and you crack your head on the floor as it knocks you to the ground. You hurl yourself at your enemy, fists flailing, and land a stunning blow.
And third turn is also...
You drop to the
You've
ground,
only lost
sweeping
Nice.
away
so
the
it's not
orc's
bad.
legs. Its head hits the ground hard with a sickening crunch. Your fists are sore from the fight, but you pick up your sword and see if the orcs had anything of use. Inside one of the orc's pockets, you find 1 gold piece and a hollow wooden tube. You put your findings in your backpack and set off west. As you walk along, droplets of water again start falling from the tunnel ceiling. Heading west, you see wet footprints made by the same boots that you followed earlier. They lead to a closed iron door in the right-hand wall of the tunnel, but do not seem to go any further.
I will say, you losing your sword in that fight, that didn't happen to the others,
Be honest with you.
Oh.
which is weird. I think the Tons get hit by the Morning Star and lost 1 health. And I think Axion managed to get his shield up in time. That's kind of cool how there's different outcomes there.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't know about you losing the sword there. That was weird.
All right then.
Yeah.
For this one, I think I'll keep going west.
Going west, okay.
The passage soon leads to a junction, where you notice more footprints on the floor, possibly as many as 3 pairs, heading north from the south passage. You decide to follow them to where the passage opens out into a wide cavern, which is darker but much drier. Ahead, you see the footprints gradually fade, then disappear. There is a large idol in the center of the cavern that must be 6 meters high. In its head are jeweled eyes, each as big as your fist, On either side of the idol stand two giant stuffed, bird-like creatures.
Okay, I will mention from this point that this is where insta-kills can start. So, the
right,
map,
okay.
basically this was the whole setup, so going to the left would have brought you here anyway.
Okay.
This is just like a full training point up until.
Okay.
Would you like to climb the idol to take the jewels, or walk through the cave?
Walk through the cave.
Yeah.
Not much farther down the tunnel, you come to a closed door on your left. Putting your ear to the door, you listen intently but hear nothing.
Open the door to the supposed empty room, or keep walking north?
I'll open it.
Yeah.
You enter a room which is small and completely empty. As soon as you are inside, the door slams shut behind you. Suddenly a voice booms out of nowhere, shouting, "Welcome to Deathtrap Dungeon, the ingenious killer labyrinth of my master. Adventurer, I trust you will pay your respects to my master by shouting out his name."
Would you like to be nice and say "Hail Succumvit," or shout "Succumvit is a worm"?
Hail.
Yeah.
You take a deep breath and shout, "Hail Succumvit!" Once again, the mysterious voice calls out. Only this time its tone is full of contempt and derision. "So, we have a sniveling weed in our midst, do we?" sneers the voice. "My master has a special gift for you, loathsome creep." Suddenly, water starts pouring into the room through a hole in the ceiling. It soon rises above your ankles, and there is no apparent way of escape. You wade back to the door. It is firmly locked, but in desperation you try ramming it with your shoulder. We'll see how skillful you really are. Remember, a roll equal to or less than your skill score means you have been skillful, but a roll higher than your skill could end badly.
As long as you don't roll a 12 here.
The door cannot withstand the furious battering you are giving it. The center panel cracks and splinters, enabling you to kick a hole in it large enough for you to squeeze through. Soaked, but happy to have survived your ordeal, you set off north again. The tunnel twists and turns, but keeps steadily north. Ahead, you see a thin shaft of blue light streaming down from the ceiling to the floor. It sparkles and shimmers, and you can see images of laughing faces in the light.
Walk through the light with the faces, or walk around the light of the faces?
That's really creepy, but I'll walk around it.
And okay.
You come to an arched doorway set in the right-hand wall of the tunnel. The heavy stone door is closed, but there is an iron latch and a round handle.
By the door, or continue along the tunnel?
I'm scared there's going to be a trap again, so I'm going to continue.
Yep.
The tunnel ends shortly at a junction. Looking left and right, you see a narrow passage disappearing into the dim distance.
Oh, that's... Alright, so would you like to go west or east?
Let's go east.
Yeah.
You walk down the passage and soon find yourself standing at the edge of a deep, dark pit. The passage continues east on the other side of the pit. You think you could probably jump over the pit, but you are not sure. There is a rope hanging down from the ceiling over the center of the pit.
So you can throw your shield over and jump after it, jump over with everything, or reach for the rope and try to swing across.
Reach for the rope.
Yeah.
Gripping the rope firmly, you step back to take a running jump. However, in the dim light, you do not notice that someone has cut the rope almost in two, just a little way above the section you are holding. As you swing out across the pit, it suddenly breaks, and you scream with fear as you plunge headlong to the depths below. You land
Fuck's
heavily
sake.
on your back, but luckily your backpack cushions your fall, only costing you 1 skill point and 2 stamina points. It could have been much worse. The darkness is almost pitch black at the bottom of the pit, and you crawl along the floor, groping in front of you. Suddenly your hand touches something cold, hard, and smooth. The object is small and round, but you cannot figure out what it is. You place it in your backpack, hoping to see what it is once you are out of the pit. You continue to crawl forward and soon reach the pit wall. It's too smooth to climb, and you have to cut hand and toe holds in it with your sword. This takes a long time, but finally you climb out of the pit on the east side. You immediately check out the object in your backpack and discover that you have found an orb of blood-red ruby. You are absolutely delighted and head off east in high spirits, whistling softly. The tunnel makes a sudden left turn and continues north as far as you can see. You soon arrive at a closed wooden door in the left-hand wall.
You can open the door or keep going north.
Let's open it.
Yeah.
The door opens into a large candlelit room filled with incredibly lifelike statues of knights and warriors. A white-haired old man dressed in tattered rags jumps out from behind one of the statues and starts to giggle. Though he looks like a fool, the sparkle in his eyes makes you think there is more to him. In a high-pitched voice, he says, "Oh, good! Another stone for my garden. I'm glad you have come to join your friends. Now, I'm a fair man, so I'll ask you a question. If you answer correctly, I'll let you go free. But if your answer is wrong, I'll turn you to stone." He starts to chuckle again, obviously pleased with your arrival.
And wait for his question. Try to attack him with your sword, or make a run for the door.
Oh, wait for his question.
Yeah.
The old man points at one of the statues, and you recognize it immediately. It is the knight who started the trial of champions. The agonized look on his face locked in stone for eternity. The old man smiles, saying, "This man weighs 100 pounds plus half his weight. How much does he weigh?" What will you answer?
So you have choices here. The question was, this man weighs 100 pounds plus half of his weight. Is he 100, 150, or 200 pounds?
150.
150.
Still smiling, the old man looks at you and says quietly, "Wrong." And before you can do anything else, he mumbles a few strange words into the air. You feel your muscles harden and your skin go taut. You start to panic, but there is nothing you can do to stop the petrification of your body. Your adventure ends here.
So we'll put that down as just on the half-hour mark as death number 1. Would you like to try again, or go back to an earlier point?
I'd like to try that again.
Yeah.
The tunnel makes a sudden left turn and continues north, as far as you can see. You soon arrive at a closed wooden door in the left-hand wall.
Would you like to open the door or keep going north?
Keep going, I think.
Yeah.
Only a few meters further down the passage, you see another closed door in the left-hand wall. The letter X is scratched into its center panel. Putting your ear to the door, you listen intently, but can hear nothing.
Again, would you like to open the door or keep walking north?
Keep walking.
The passage slowly starts to climb, leading you relentlessly northwards. There are no doorways or even an alcove to investigate, and you become less guarded as you plod on. After a while, you become so nonchalant that you fail to notice a thin tripwire stretched low across the passage. It is only when your foot catches it and you hear a distant rumble that you realize your mistake. The rumbling sound swells to an almost deafening level, and suddenly, out of the gloom of the tunnel ahead, you see a massive boulder rolling towards you, gathering speed with every second. You turn to flee the oncoming boulder. You run faster than you have ever run in your life, but still the boulder is catching up on you. This is a tough one, a test of both your skill and stamina. We'll roll 2 dice, and if the number rolled is equal to or less than both your skill and stamina scores, you should be fine. But if the number rolled is more than either of them, then things could end very badly.
You want less than a 10?
Your fear gives you a new surge of energy, and somehow your tired legs manage to keep you in front of the boulder. Ahead, on your right, you see the welcome sight of a doorway. You lunge at the door, and mercifully it flies open. The boulder thunders past you, and you are left lying exhausted on the floor of a large room. Looking around you, you see an alcove in the west wall and a stone chair in the middle of the room. Sitting in the chair is the skeleton of an armed warrior, possibly a contestant from years gone by. The skeletal fingers of its right hand grip a crumpled parchment.
So just to show, that was the door with the X on it. And then you keep going,
okay.
and then because you hit the boulder, you're back here.
I ran back. Right, okay.
So would you like to take the parchment from the skeleton?
Yes, I would like to.
Okay.
Touching the parchment has precisely the effect you had feared. The skeleton lurches forward
Oh
and,
my
rising
God.
from its chair in a series of jerky movements, raises its sword to strike you. Lunging sideways, you draw your sword to defend yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
The warrior's
that's a
strength
loss,
is
though.
surprising. You raise your shield to defend yourself, but it smashes you painfully against the wall.
Right.
You run around the jerking skeleton, smashing your sword into its arm.
And last one. Hopefully.
The
Yep,
skeleton
another
is
one.
strong, but slow.
So you're down.
You swing
4
your
health right now.
sword, which smashes into its leg. Once again, you reach for the parchment, only this time lying amidst a pile of broken bones. Unfolding it, you see a map of a room with a drawing of a hideous creature inside it. Beneath the monster is a rhyme, which reads, "Should you meet the manticore, of its tail beware. Shield yourself against the spikes, flying through the air." You fold up the piece of parchment and put it in your backpack, repeating the
useful later
rhyme
on.
over
You
and
never know.
over to yourself. You walk across to the alcove. At the back of the alcove are some steps leading down into a cellar. Cobwebs brush your face as you descend. The cellar ceiling is quite low, and the floor is strewn with debris. In the middle of the wall opposite you is an archway, which leads into another crystal-lit tunnel. There are large mushrooms growing on the debris to your right.
Would you like to step through the archway or stop to eat some of the mushrooms?
I'll eat the mushroom.
Okay.
You break off a large piece of the mushroom and bite into it eagerly. But immediately your stomach feels bloated, and you can even see it beginning to bulge below your belt. Your whole body starts to expand, bursting out of your clothes with a loud ripping sound. You grow bigger and bigger, and soon your face is pressed against the ceiling. The mushrooms you have eaten are much sought after by wizards for their growth potions, but to you they spell doom. You are too large ever to leave the cellar, and your adventure
For God's
ends.
sake. No!
You never played Mario before? You eat the mushrooms and you go bigger? That will be death number 2. I think we need to Ellie again.
Only a few meters further.
So, door,
The door,
skeletons. Him again. We'll go.
touching the parchment. You both swing for each other,
Yeah, that
and
was
in
a
the
draw.
confusion, both miss.
At least this way you may not actually. One.
You jump
Nope,
back
never mind.
as the skeleton swings
Think
its
that again.
sword, but not quickly enough, and it tears into your shoulder, sapping your stamina. You dodge to the side as the
go on.
warrior swings its sword. Once again, you reach the... At the back of the alcove are some steps
Parchment.
leading down into a
about that?
cellar. Cobwebs brush your face as you descend. The cellar ceiling is quite low, and the floor is strewn with debris. In the middle of the wall opposite you is an archway, which leads into another crystal-lit tunnel. There are large mushrooms growing on the debris to your right.
So would you like to step through the archway or stop to eat some of the
Yes.
mushrooms?
No mushrooms for me.
The tunnel continues west for several hundred meters, finally ending at some steps leading up to a closed trapdoor. You climb the steps slowly, hearing muffled voices above you. In the dim light, you can see that the trapdoor is not locked.
Knock on the trapdoor or bust through the trapdoor with your sword drawn?
Burst through with my sword drawn.
Right, okay.
You throw the trapdoor open and run up the steps into a bright, lantern-lit room. 2 goblins are sharpening their short swords on a stone set in the middle of the floor. You catch them momentarily off guard, but they quickly recover and both rush forward to attack you. A point of note here, adventurer. Because of the shape of the room, both goblins will have a separate attack on you in each attack round. However, here your attack will only be effective on one of the goblins. Against the other, you must still use your attack strength in a normal way. But even if your attack would have been effective, you will not wound it. It will just count this as though you have defended yourself. However, if its attack strength is greater, it will have wounded you in the normal way.
That's what I was mentioning earlier about the different types of attacks. So,
Right, okay.
so attacks the first.
Your enemy is strong, but slow,
Thankfully they've only got 5
and
skills.
screams in
so
pain as your sword sinks into his leg.
Unless they roll good. So this is the first attack on second goblin, which
You lunge at the creature's stomach with your sword drawn,
yeah.
but the creature
Tight,
whips
even though
around,
Okay.
parrying your blow. Neither of you are harmed.
That's
You hurl yourself at your enemy, fists flailing, and land a stunning blow.
Another defense.
You both swing for each other, and in the confusion, both miss.
Last attack on the first goblin.
You thrust your sword,
I win.
and you clearly damage the creature.
Flawless.
Yay.
And now we can actually hurt the second goblin.
Your enemy is strong, but slow, and screams in pain as your sword sinks into his leg.
Attack.
You hurl yourself at your enemy, fists flailing, and land a stunning blow.
And last attack on goblin number 2.
You thrust your sword,
and you
and you clearly damage the creature.
Triumphant in one of your toughest battles to date, you see that the only furniture in the goblin's room is a table, 2 chairs, and a cupboard on the wall. There are 2 closed doors, one in the west wall and the other in the north wall.
So now you can open the cupboard, see what's inside, or try either the west or north door.
I'll open the cupboard.
Yeah.
The cupboard contains a wooden mallet and 10 iron spikes, which you put in your backpack while wondering which door to open.
So your choice is west or north?
North.
Yeah.
The door opens into another tunnel, which rises gently into the distance. After walking uphill for a while, the tunnel levels out, and you soon arrive at a door in the right-hand wall, to which a withered hand is nailed.
We can open the door with the withered hand or continue north.
Continue.
Yeah.
There is an open pipe in the right-hand wall, about 1 meter in diameter. It is too dark to see far down it. You shout into it and hear your voice echoing down the iron pipe until eventually the sound fades away.
And choose to crawl down the pipe or continue north.
Let's crawl down it.
Yep.
The pipe is wet and slimy, but you crawl on into the dank darkness, slithering and sliding as you go. Suddenly your hand touches something hard and square, which feels as if it is made of wood. It rattles as you shake it, and you decide you must be holding a box.
And choose to crawl back out of the pipe and examine your box find, or press on further down the pipe.
Do you know what? I'll crawl out and examine what I got.
Yeah.
Removing the box lid by the light of the tunnel, you find an iron key and a large gem. It is a sapphire. Placing the items carefully in your backpack, you gain 1 luck point and set off north once again.
So full. There.
There is a new
Jewels and sapphire.
branch in the tunnel on your left, and ahead you see 2 bodies lying on the floor. You stop and peer down the new tunnel, but seeing no doors or creatures, you decide against walking down it. With your sword drawn, you walk over to the bodies of the 2 orc guards. At least one of your rivals in the Trial of Champions must still be ahead of you. A quick search of the bodies produces nothing, apart from a necklace of teeth around the neck of one of the orcs.
Would you like to take the necklace for yourself or set off north without it?
Sure, I'll wear it.
Yeah.
The necklace is an amulet of strength, which adds 1 skill point and 1 stamina point.
Cool.
Pleased with your find, you continue your quest north. The tunnel soon ends at a junction. Standing there alone, and wondering which way to go is one of your rivals. It is one of the barbarians. You call out to him, but at first he does not answer. He merely stares at you coldly, his hands firmly gripping his axe. You walk up to him and ask which way he is heading. He grunts his reply, saying that he is going west, and you may go with him if you wish.
So how far you've got? Quite a few little alcoves and passageways so far. So this
Okay.
a barbarian. So you can head west with the barbarian or decline and go east.
I'll go with him.
Yeah.
Although you are slightly uneasy in each other's company, knowing that there can only be one winner in the Trial of Champions, you are both content to share in the benefits of a temporary alliance. And you begin to tell each other of your exploits so far, of the monsters and traps encountered and the dangers overcome. Walking along, you soon come to the edge of a wide pit. It is too deep and dark to see to the bottom. The barbarian suggests he lowers you to the bottom with his rope, saying he has a torch which he can light for you to use.
So 3 choices here. You can accept the barbarian's offer and go down first. You can offer to lower him down first. Or suggest you both jump over the pit instead.
Jump over. I don't trust him.
Yeah.
The barbarian reluctantly agrees to your alternative suggestion. You both step back and take running jumps over the pit, landing safely on the other side. Pleased with the ease with which you clear the obstacle, you continue down the tunnel. The barbarian, now a little reckless, fails to see a raised floor stone, which tilts forward as he stumbles over it, releasing a huge boulder loosely set in the ceiling.
Oh, not another
The
one.
rock crashes down on top of the barbarian, knocking him to the floor, crushing his skull. You must now continue your quest alone.
Oh well, get fucked,
Feeling
barbarian.
sorry for the loss of your new companion, you carry on down the tunnel. Suddenly you see daylight. You run towards the most beautiful sight you have seen for a long time and emerge, expecting to see the welcoming sight of cheering people. But there is no hero's welcome from the people all around you. They are dead. You are standing in a cold chamber littered with armored skeletons and bodies. The exit to victory was just an illusion. Only the corpses of the past adventures are real. Utterly dejected, you walk back towards the tunnel, but hit an invisible barrier. You, like the adventurers tricked before you, are trapped in this ghoulish place and destined to end your days in the chamber of the dead.
Your adventure ends here.
Oh, god damn
So
it!
that's death number 3. Wait. Start at the...
Although you are...
Oh, you can accept the barbarian's offer and go first. You can offer him down first. Or you can jump over the pit instead.
I will accept the barbarian's offer.
Yeah.
You tie the rope around your waist and take hold of the lighted torch given to you by Throm, as your barbarian ally calls himself. Taking hold of the slack rope, Throm lowers you slowly over the edge of the pit and down into the dark depths below. You can see by the light of the torch that the sides of the pit are extremely smooth. You drop about 20 meters before hitting the bottom of the pit. There, you see another tunnel heading north, and you call up to Throm and tell him of your discovery. He calls back, saying that he is going to tie the rope around a protruding rock on the edge of the pit, and will come down and join you. You hear him climbing down, and soon you are together again. Throm retrieves his rope by shaking it off the rock, and you set off north along the new tunnel. On a stone ledge in the tunnel wall, you see 2 dusty leather-bound books. Throm grunts his contempt for the written word, urging you to leave the books and hurry on.
You have a choice to read a red leather book, a black leather book, or continue along the tunnel.
I'll open the black one.
Yeah.
The book pages are sealed together, but a small hole has been cut out in the middle of them, just large enough to hold a small corked bottle containing a clear liquid. You show it to Throm, who holds up his hand, indicating that he does not want you to come anywhere near him with it. His distrust of things unknown is strongly evident.
Drink the liquid, rub the liquid into your... Leave it alone and open the red book, or both and go no.
Let's open the red book, see what's in there.
Yeah.
As you open the book, it immediately begins to disintegrate, the pages turning to dust in your hands. You manage to keep a few fragments and read the handwritten script. The book appears to be about monsters, and from what you can make out, it contains a full description of a monster called the Blood Beast. It is a horrific, bloated creature with tough, spiny skin and facial blisters which burst open to become mock eyes, evolved to hide the Blood Beast's only weak spot, the real eyes. Blood beasts usually dwell in pools of fetid slime which give off a poisonous gas so strong that it alone can easily knock people unconscious. The blood beast, although too bulbous to haul itself out of its slime pool, has a long and vicious tongue which it wraps around its victims before it drags them into its pool. As the helpless and still living victim's flesh decomposes in the vile slime, the blood beast will feed on it. You tell Throm about the grotesque blood beast. He merely shrugs his shoulders and tells you to get going. Setting off, you continue your journey north with Throm. The tunnel turns sharply to the right,
Creatures we've learned about now.
continuing east for as far as you can see. Throm stops and tells you to halt as well. He turns his head slowly from side to side, listening. I hear footsteps coming down the tunnel towards us, he whispers. Draw your sword. You both crouch down to hide in the shadows, and not a minute too soon. For a moment later, you see the silhouette of 2 armed guards. Throm jumps up and dashes forward, screaming a loud battle cry. They are 2 cave trolls. Throm attacks the first one with his battle axe, and you run to his aid to attack the second.
Night time. Cave trolls.
You drop to the ground, grab the
Trolls will be
creature,
pretty decent here.
and ram its head hard into the wall.
Yeah, first was a win.
You hurl yourself at your
Second's
enemy,
also a win. Good,
fists flailing, and land a stunning blow.
good. And
You parry the
lost.
attack, but your enemy is too strong,
another 2
and you
HP
crack
lost.
your head on the floor as you hit the ground. You look to the left and see Throm standing over the cave troll he has slain. Blood is pouring out from a deep cut in his shoulder, but it does not seem to worry him. You search the bodies of the cave trolls, but find nothing apart from a bone ring on a leather cord hanging round the neck of one of them. The ring is engraved with a symbol which Throm recognizes. He explains that it must have belonged to druids of the north, and that an ancient talisman such as this will increase your powers if your body is able to accept it.
Would you like to try the ring on or continue east?
I'll put it on.
Put the ring on. Yeah.
As soon as you put the ring on your finger, your whole body starts to shake. We'll see how skillful you really are. Remember, a roll equal to or less than your skill score means you've been skillful, but a roll higher than your skill could end badly. Your body continues to vibrate intensely.
Not too
And
bad.
you feel as if you're about to pass out. But your strength is great, and you manage to withstand the tremendous shock to your system.
Cool.
Finally, you calm down and begin to feel the ring's beneficial powers working on you.
Can I eat something when
and
we get a
adding
break?
3 stamina points. You see Throm looking
okay.
at you
So
anxiously,
you might not want to right now.
so you reassure him that you are
You're
fully
only-
recovered. He strides off east,
Oh, well, you're
and
minus
you
4.
follow
right?
him eagerly.
Want to
The
eat a
tunnel
provision?
leads into a damp cavern
No, I'm right for
with a
now.
high ceiling and rock-strewn floor. Long and wet, teeth-like stalactites hang down threateningly. Their constant dripping creates milky pools on the floor. The tunnel carries on through an archway carved in the shape of a demonic mouse.
So we can search the chamber or head straight for the archway.
Let's see. The chamber.
Yeah.
You walk around the cavern, but find nothing of interest. Throm calls out behind you, saying that he has found a leather pouch under a pile of rocks. Opening the pouch, he laughs out loud as a tiny mouse runs through his fingers and scurries off into the crevice behind 2 boulders. Suddenly, you hear the sound of cracking rock above you and look up to see stalactites breaking off from the roof. Throm's booming laugh, which still echoes through the chamber, has made the stalactites vibrate and break off. You yell at Throm to run through the archway as the stalactites start to crash to the floor. This will be a test of your luck.
Fuck's sake, Throm.
Despite the stalactites crashing all
Roll a
around
three's not
you,
too bad when you've got 9
you
more.
manage to dash through the archway without injury. You look around and see Throm thundering towards you, one arm held over his head for protection. He dashes into the tunnel and leans against the cold wall, panting heavily, apologizing for starting the rockfall, and offers you his hand to shake. You tell Throm that maybe he should use sign language in future, even for laughing. You both smile and head east once more. The tunnel ends at a large oak door. Throm wastes no time in testing the handle and is somewhat surprised to find the door unlocked. He pushes it open and walks into a torch-lit chamber. Sitting alone on an ornate chair is a dwarf who bids you enter. As you do so, the oak door swings shut behind you. Adventurers, you have done well to get this far, says the dwarf in a deep voice. However, as you both know, there can only be one winner in the Trial of Champions. As Trial Master, it is my duty to Baron Circumvit to let only the most able continue. Therefore, I must devise a test of wits and strength to eliminate one of you.
Dun, dun.
Please do not attempt to dispose of me. It will be utterly pointless, for, as you can see, there is no obvious way out of this chamber, and only I know where the hidden exit lies. Now, if you would care to decide between you who will go first, I shall make the necessary preparations. You look at Throm, suddenly angry that your effective partnership might come to an end. He leans over and whispers in your ear that you should try to kill the dwarf and worry about the exit later.
So you can join Thrum in trying to attack the dwarf, or persuade Thrum to go through with the tests.
Go through with a test.
Yep.
You tell Thrum that there is no point in killing the dwarf, as you will never find your way out of the chamber alone. You argue that an opportunity of tricking the dwarf might arise later, once you have found the exit from the chamber. So you intend to go through with the dwarf's test. You tell the dwarf that you are ready, and he beckons you to follow him, telling Thrum to wait for his return. A secret door opens in the chamber wall, and you follow the dwarf into a small circular room. He closes the door behind you and hands you 2 bone dice, telling you to throw them onto the floor. You roll a 6 and a 2, a total of 8. The dwarf asks you to roll them again, but this time you must predict whether the total will be the same, less, or more than the 8.
So would you like to guess less than 8, more than 8, or the same?
Less.
Yeah.
The dwarf congratulates you for guessing correctly.
Oof.
He tells you that you must now progress to the second stage of the test. He reaches for a wicker basket and tells you that a snake is held within it. He tips the basket over, and the snake drops onto the floor. It is a cobra, and it rears up in the air, ready to strike. The dwarf tells you that he wishes to test your reactions. Barehanded, you must grasp the cobra below its head, avoiding its deadly fangs. You crouch down on the floor, tensing yourself for the moment to seize it. This will be a tough test of your skill. With lightning
You're all 3,
speed,
so you're all right.
you thrust your hand out and grip the cobra just below its open mouth. You lift it up, and with your arm outstretched, you dangle it in front of the dwarf. He doesn't flinch, but says in his calm, expressionless way,
Please put the cobra back in the basket and prepare for the final part of the test. Follow me.
You do what he says and follow him back into the chamber, where Thrum is pacing up and down, obviously ill at ease. You wave to him while the dwarf opens a second secret door and tells you to walk on through and wait for him. Again you comply, and you find yourself in another circular room, although this one resembles a small arena. The floor is covered with sand, and a small balcony runs around the arena wall. Opposite the secret entrance you came in through is an ominous-looking wooden door. Suddenly you hear a shout, and you look up to see the smiling dwarf standing on the balcony. He throws 2 pieces of paper down to you. On one of them, the words, "No crop is," are written. On the other, "Ruin moat." In his ever-calm voice, he says,
If you rearrange the letters of the words, you will find the names of 2 creatures. You may choose which one to fight in my arena of death.
Can you identify the creature by rearranging the letters?
So you can fight the anagram of no crop is, the anagram of ruin moat. You can figure out the anagrams.
I cannot. Let's go with ruin moat.
Yep.
You call out to the dwarf that you are ready to fight the Minotaur. The wooden door rises slowly, and you see the fearsome beast, half man, half bull, step into the arena. Steam blows from its nostrils as it works itself up into a rage, ready to attack. Suddenly it rushes forward, swinging its double-headed axe.
Night time.
Your speed is improving. You run directly at the Minotaur and
I'll have a
slice
skill
at its
advantage
leg
now,
as you
which is
run
good.
by.
Again.
The Minotaur leans forward and
Another
takes
one.
a run at you. Speed is impressive, but you duck and roll aside, landing a heavy blow on its shin.
And third.
The
Yep,
Minotaur
falls against the
swings
Minotaur.
its huge axe above its head. You step aside as it
Guys are having
smashes
high
into the
skill.
floor. You're able to land an attack
Yeah.
from the side. The dwarf calls down from the balcony, congratulating you on your victory. He throws the sack down into the arena and tells you to relax and regain your strength for the final part of the test. Then he walks off, saying he will return in about 10 minutes. You open the sack and find a jug of wine and a cooked chicken.
Would you like to eat and drink the dwarf's offerings, or sit down and await?
Eat and drink.
Yeah.
The food and drink are excellent, and you feel much better, gaining 2 more stamina points. Fully satisfied, you sit down and await the dwarf's return. After about 20 minutes, the dwarf reappears on the balcony. He calls down to you, saying,
Well, I do have an interesting problem on my hands. Prepare to fight your next opponent.
The wooden door rises once again, and you are surprised to see a familiar face. It is Throm. He is cut and badly bruised and doesn't seem to recognize you. He is clearly delirious as he staggers forward with his axe raised to attack you. The dwarf laughs and says,
The cobra bit him, but he has the strength of an ox and managed to carry on, even though most men would have died. Now you must fight him to decide finally which of you will continue the trial of champions.
You shout abuse at the dwarf, protesting the cruelty of such a contest. He merely laughs, and you have no option but to defend yourself against poor Throm. Despite his wounds, he is immensely strong.
Enough for that.
You drop to the ground, sweeping away Throm's
Hello?
legs. You hate it, as he howls as his head hits the hard ground. Throm is tall, and you
Wouldn't
duck,
forget.
grab him, and ram his head hard into the wall.
Just about.
Throm swings low,
Lots.
crashing into your ankles and knocking you off balance. Exhausted by your long duel, you fall to your knees as you stare at Throm's still body. A bitter loathing for the dwarf fills your heart. Somehow, you will avenge Throm. Engulfed in your hatred, you do not notice the dwarf enter the arena until he is standing right in front of you, a loaded crossbow aimed at your chest.
I know what you are thinking,
He says calmly.
but remember that only I know the way out of here. Get up. It's time for you to leave.
Once on your feet, the dwarf indicates that you should walk ahead of him. Back in the chamber, he crosses over to the northern wall and pushes against one of its stones. A door-like section of the wall swings out, opening into another crystal-lit tunnel. With his crossbow still aimed at your chest, the dwarf smiles, saying,
Good luck.
Walk straight into the tunnel or swing a last punch at the door.
Oh, I really want to swing a punch at him, but he's got a crossbow. I'll walk into the tunnel.
The tunnel soon divides into 2. You hear a buzzing sound coming from the western branch.
And walk west and investigate the noise, or continue north.
Continue.
Yep.
The tunnel leads into a dark chamber, covered in thick cobwebs. Clawing your way through them, you trip over a wooden casket.
Can open the casket or continue north.
Let's open it.
The casket opens easily, and inside there is a black velvet bag containing a large pearl, gaining you 1 luck point.
Ooh, nice.
After putting the pearl in
Yes,
your
I have
pocket,
filled.
you press on through the cobwebs. You reach the far wall of the chamber and see 2 doors.
Let's go right.
Okay.
The door opens into another tunnel running north. Ahead you see 2 stone fountains, one on either side of the tunnel, carved in the shape of cherubs. Water spouts from their mouths and cascades into small bowls at their feet.
Drink from either the left or right fountain or continue onwards.
Let's drink from the left.
Yep.
The cool water is refreshing, but it comes from a source which has been cursed by a hag, adding 1 stamina point, but costing you 2 luck points.
Oh.
Still drink from the other fountain if you want, or continue north.
Let's drink from the other one.
The cool water is refreshing and comes from a source which has been sprinkled with pixie dust, gaining you 1 stamina point and 2 skill points. You continue north. Leaning against the left-hand wall of the tunnel, you see a pair of bamboo stilts. They are securely chained, and you see a label attached to a padlock which reads, "The price of these stilts is 1 gold piece. Place the coin in the slot to release the lock."
Buy the stilts for 1 gold piece or keep walking north.
Fucking good, by the way.
Let's
No, it's just the irony. He's
Currently on
fucking.
3.
keep walking.
Yep.
A little farther on, you come to a section of the tunnel which is covered with thick green slime. It looks threatening, so you decide to test it first with a piece of cloth. The slime's corrosive jelly burns the cloth instantly, leaving no trace. You take off your shirt and tear it in half. You wrap a piece around each foot to give yourself some sort of protection against the corrosive slime, and dash across it in giant leaps. On the firm ground beyond the slime, you frantically try to rip the burning shirt off your feet with your sword. However, some of the slime has eaten its way through to your ankle, costing you 3 stamina points.
Ouch.
Setting off north again, you come to a junction.
Yeah, we'll just that right. That's that was the arena bit where you fought the dwarf,
Okay.
but with the fountains, and this is up here past this. Choice to go west
Okay.
or continue north.
Let's go west.
Yep.
You walk no more than 3 meters west before you hit an invisible barrier. It starts fizzing and crackling, and you are thrown back. You have hit an energy screen, losing you 1 stamina point. There is no alternative but to walk back to the junction and head north.
Can I eat?
You soon arrive at a double door in the left-hand wall. You listen at the door but hear nothing. You try the handle, it turns, and you open the left door slightly and peer through the crack. An armed warrior is lying face down on the floor of a bare room with smooth walls and a low ceiling. He is presumably dead, for he makes no movement, even when you call out to him. A large jewel, perhaps a diamond, lies just beyond his outstretched arm.
Would you like to enter the room and take the jewel, or continue north?
Sounds like a trap, though. Let's go. Let's enter the room and take the jewel.
Yep.
You finally reach the warrior's body, but as soon as you touch the jewel, both it and the warrior
I knew it was a trap.
into thin air. You hear the door slam behind you, followed by a sudden, ominous rumbling above you. You look up and see the ceiling start to lower. You run to the door to try to escape, but it is locked, and there is no handle on the inside. The ceiling gradually drops until you are forced to lie on the ground, trying to halt the ceiling's progress with your hands and feet. But it is a hopeless task, and you are crushed to death in the stone vise.
Welp.
If only you'd found a potion that allowed you to detect traps like this.
Your adventure ends here. Death number 4 now. Okay.
Oh my god.
Shall continue from just
You
there.
soon arrive at a double door in the...
Would you like to enter the room and take the jewel, or continue north?
No. Continue. I knew it was a trap.
The tunnel continues north for quite a distance before coming to a dead end. The mouth of a chute protrudes from the western wall, and it appears to be the only alternative to turning back. You decide to risk it and climb into the chute. You slide gently down and emerge into a room, landing on your back. As soon as you stand up, you are confronted by the most repulsive sight you have ever laid eyes on.
I need to do that again.
There in front of you, wallowing in a circular pool of fetid slime, is a bulbous creature too horrible to be believed. Its body is green and covered all over with fearsome-looking spikes. Its face is a mass of crimson blisters, one of which suddenly bursts to reveal yet another of its many sinister, all-seeing eyes. A narrow path runs around the edge of the pool and leads into another tunnel in the far wall. Remembering the description of the vile blood beast and the warning about the toxic gas rising from its pool, you cover your mouth with your sleeve and step forward with your sword drawn, wary of the blood beast's tongue. As you step around the side of the pool, it rolls forward and flicks out its tongue. But you are ready for it and cleave it with one swipe of your sword. The beast howls in pain and stretches forward frantically, trying to clasp you between its blood-filled jaws. You start hacking at its hideous face in an attempt to pierce its real eyes.
And now we fight it, but it does have 12 skills, so
The creature launches its head out of the
I
pool
win
in
at
front
least.
of you
So most should
and reaches for you with its mouth. You plunge your sword into one of its many eyes. It shrieks and backs away. Breathing heavily during your fight, you begin to succumb to the toxic gas and fall, cracking your head on the floor.
Last fight.
The creature turns and whips its tail at you.
Ooh.
The fierce spike at the end
lost
misses
two
you
there, which
by
isn't too bad.
millimeters. You jump forward and strike a clean blow into its rear. Your blade strikes one of the blood beast's real eyes with devastating effect. It slumps back into its pool, thrashing about in a frenzy. You seize the opportunity and run around the side of the pool to the tunnel exit. The tunnel leads into a large room, its ceiling supported by several marble pillars. As you enter the room, you see a strange beast to your right. It has the body of a lion with dragon-like wings attached to it, but its head is like that of an old bearded man. You recognize the beast. It is a manticore. Taking
only
heed
read
of the
up about
warning poem
manticores
you
as
took
well.
from the skeleton warrior, you watch out for its tail, which sprouts a
Nice.
profusion of sharp spikes at its tip, thick and hard as iron bolts. You raise your shield in front of you just in time to protect yourself from a volley of spikes released from the manticore's tail and aim straight at your heart. They sink into your shield, and you remain unharmed. Swiftly, you draw your sword and advance on the manticore.
Kills you, so lunge.
You lunge at the creature's stomach with
Oh.
your sword drawn. It tries to move, but you land a powerful blow.
Go wins with the dice here, we'll do it. Do it. Sometimes the dice do this.
The giant creature whips its spiked tail at you, firing more spikes. You duck and roll, quickly slicing a chunk from its tail, passing close to you.
And up attack is.
You seize an
also one.
opportunity to attack the creature's back leg
Hey.
and manage to bury your sword deep into its thigh. As you are wiping the manticore's blood from your sword, you are surprised to see a small man jump out from behind one of the marble pillars. He is dressed in a tight-fitting green tunic and looks quite harmless, although you are wary of the way he is holding an opaque glass ball with a shimmering green light. "Greetings," he says cheerfully. "My name is Igbot, the gnome, and I am the trial master for your final test. Needless to say, my magical powers are great, so you should not try to attack me. You may have learnt, during your quest, that gems play an essential part in the trial of champions. The iron door in front of you is the victory exit, but there is only one way of opening it. 3 gems have to be put into the lock mechanism in the correct order. Each gem radiates a unique energy, which will trigger the mechanism. If you do it correctly, that is. But first, we need the correct gems. First, you will need an emerald." The gnome shakes his head and says, "I am afraid that you have failed the trial of champions. Baron Succumvit's Deathtrap dungeon will keep its secrets for another year, as you will not be allowed to leave here. You are appointed my servant for the rest of your days to prepare and modify the dungeon for future contestants. Perhaps, in another life, you will succeed."
So that is considered a fail rather than a death, as you have got to the last room. However, you do not have the gems.
Truthful game.
Right,
or
okay.
Some of the gems required. So you need 3 gems. You had a sapphire and a pearl. However,
But not a
as you
lafron.
can tell from that first one, you need an emerald. So potentially you may have had 2 of the 3 gems and we're just missing an emerald. Or maybe you had none of the ones, as there are
The tunnel leads
bricks in
into a
total.
large
So we
room.
will go back. Since that was considered a fail, so we do kind of have to start here, back where the insta-kill started. So yeah,
I can even replace
Okay.
so that is currently 4 deaths, 1 fail. Start from here.
There is a large idol in the center of the cavern that must be 6 meters high. In its head are jeweled eyes, each as big as your fist. On either side of the idol stand 2 giant stuffed, bird-like creatures.
Would you
I'll
like to climb the idol this time or walk through?
Climb it.
Yeah.
The idol is very smooth and will be difficult to climb. Some rope would have been ideal for this task, but alas, you don't have any. So slowly and carefully, you begin to climb the idol. You're about to grab hold of its large ear when suddenly your foot slips. We'll need to check how lucky you are. We'll roll 2 dice, and if the number rolled is equal to or less than your current luck score, you have been lucky. But if the number rolled is higher than your current luck score, you have been unlucky. You just managed to grab the idol's earlobe and regain your footing. You scramble over its face and sit down on the bridge of its nose. You draw your sword and consider which jeweled eye to prize out first.
Would you like to prize out the left or the right eye?
Rifle for
The right.
Yep.
You try to force the point of your sword under the emerald eye. Much to your surprise, it shatters on contact, releasing a jet of poisonous gas straight into your face.
Oh, fuck.
The gas knocks you out and you fall backwards, bouncing down the idol to land on the stone floor. Your adventure ends here.
Damn it.
Yeah, so we'll chalk that up as 5 deaths. Let's climb up.
You just managed to grab
you
the idol's earlobe and regain your footing.
Oh, would you like to prize out the left or the right eye?
The left.
As you touch the emerald eye of the idol, you hear a creaking sound below you. Looking down, you are shocked to see the 2 stuffed birds taking flight. Their wings flap in jerky movements, but they are soon above you and look set to attack. You'll fight the flying guardians, 1 at a time, but your skill is reduced by 3 during this combat because of your restricted position.
They'll have the advantage.
You manage to grab one of its legs, flipping it over, making it fall fast, but it recovers just before hitting the ground. Neither of you are harmed. Clawing at your leg with its talons, the Guardian rips away a chunk of your stamina. You're able to grab the wing of the Guardian and send it crashing into the idol. It recovers, but you took some of its stamina. The crumpled form of the first flying guardian falls crashing to the floor. So you ready yourself to take on the second.
One has the same skill as you, so...
You lunge for the creature as it flies above you, but your sword clangs into the statue. Neither of you are harmed.
The
Guardian snaps at you with its vicious beak.
Oh, man.
You parry, but the tip of the creature's beak sinks deep into your arm.
3.
The Guardian snaps at you with its vicious beak, but you're able to smash the hilt of your sword into its outstretched neck. Your final swipe dispatches the second flying Guardian. You look down and see the crumpled bodies of the flying Guardians lying motionless on the floor. You start to prize out the idol's emerald eye with the tip of your sword. At last it comes free, and you are surprised by its weight. Hoping that it may be of use later, you put it in your backpack.
Hey, an emerald. Would you like to prize at the right eye or climb down?
Climb down.
You lower yourself carefully down the idol, and wasting no more time in the cavern, run forward to the tunnel in the northern wall. Not much farther down the tunnel, you come to a closed door on your left. Putting your ear to the door, you listen intently but hear nothing.
The good thing about this is, even though we've now changed the story, the map that you have taken the first time is still here. From everything you've done. So, memory serves, that is where you got the emerald, which is fine. I think it was here you got the sapphire. Pearl was... I think about here in the casket. Was it before the fountains? It was about here anyway, so just in case you want to change decisions this time round. Trying to remember.
Okay.
If you want to keep seeing the map, so I think there was the sapphire. But again, we need that.
Okay.
So you can open the door or keep walking north.
I can't remember what I did, but I'll open the door.
Yeah. You've done it again, you'll probably
You enter a
remember
room
about
which
it.
is small and completely empty. As soon as you are inside, the door slams shut behind you. Suddenly a voice booms out of nowhere, shouting, "Welcome to Deathtrap Dungeon, the ingenious killer labyrinth of my master. Adventurer, I trust you will pay your respects to my master by shouting out his name."
Sounds like a familiar voice.
Mm.
Would you like to shout Hail Succumvit or Succumvit as a worm?
I'll shout that he's a worm this time.
Yeah?
You take a deep breath and shout, "Succumvit is a worm." Once again, the mysterious voice calls out, only this time, to your great surprise, in a far less threatening tone. Good. My master likes those who show spirit. Take this gift to help you. It will grant you one wish, but one wish only. Farewell. A gold ring magically appears out of nowhere and lands at your feet with a gentle tinkle. You pick it up and put it on one of your fingers. The door opens and you step back into the tunnel to continue north. The tunnel twists and turns, but keeps steadily north. Ahead, you see a thin shaft of blue light streaming down from the ceiling to the floor. It sparkles and shimmers, and you can see images of laughing faces in the light.
Like to walk through the light or around the light?
Around it.
Yeah.
You come to an arched doorway set in the right-hand wall of the tunnel. The heavy stone door is closed, but there is an iron latch and a round handle.
And try the door or continue along the tunnel. Not try it last time.
I'll try it this time.
Yep.
Lifting the latch and pushing the heavy stone door open, you find yourself in a large cavern. The light is dim and murky, but as your eyes begin to adjust, you see that the walls are covered in green algae and running with moisture. The floor is strewn with straw. The atmosphere is warm, damp, and fetid, and a soft humming sound fills the air. You step gingerly through the straw towards a corner of the cabin where there appears to be a shallow pit. Peering warily into the pit, you are disgusted to see a mass of pale, writhing worms,
Oh, how nice.
some as much as 1/2 meter long. Nauseated, you are about to turn away when you notice that their undulating bodies are swarming around a dagger, its point held fast in a crack in the pit floor. The hilt is cased in black leather, studded with opals, and the blade is fashioned from a strange, reddish-black burnished metal you have never seen before. You long to touch the dagger, but this would mean plunging your hand in among the writhing worm.
You like to reach for the dagger, or back away in disgust and leave?
I want to back away.
Yeah.
Unable to face the thought of the touch of the writhing worms, you leave the cavern and continue north. The tunnel ends shortly at a junction. Looking left and right, you see a narrow passage disappearing into the dim distance.
Oh.
Last time, so would you like to go west or?
Sorry, mute. I mean,
Go east.
Yeah.
You walk down the passage and soon find yourself standing at the edge of a deep, dark pit. The passage continues east on the other side of the pit. You think you could probably jump over the pit, but you're not sure. There is a rope hanging down from the ceiling over the center of the pit.
And throw your shield over, jump over with everything, or reach for the rope.
I'll reach it. I'll do this again.
Yep.
Gripping the rope firmly,
Get this thing.
you land heavily on your back,
Yeah.
but luckily your backpack cushions your fall, only costing you 1 skill point and 2 stamina points. It could have been much worse. The darkness is almost pitch black at the bottom of the pit, and you crawl along the floor, groping in front of you. Suddenly your hand touches something cold, hard and smooth. The object is small and round, but you cannot figure out what it is. You place it in your backpack, hoping to see what it is once you are out of the pit. You continue to crawl forward and soon reach the pit wall. It's too smooth to climb, and you have to cut hand and toe holes in it with your sword. This takes a long time, but finally you climb out of the pit on the east side. You immediately check out the object in your backpack and discover that you have found an orb of blood-red ruby. You are absolutely delighted and head off east in high spirits, whistling softly. The tunnel makes a sudden left turn and continues north as far as you can see. You soon arrive at a closed wooden door in the left-hand wall.
Did I open this door? I can't remember now.
No, you.
Let's open it.
Yeah.
The door opens into a large candlelit room filled with incredibly lifelike statues of
actually,
knights
that
and
we
warriors.
just-
Oh
A
shit!
white-haired old man
Yeah.
dressed in tattered rags jumps out from behind one of the statues and starts to giggle.
And wait for his question. Attack him with your sword and make a run for the door.
I'll attack him.
You draw your sword and rush towards the old man. He raises his left arm and suddenly you hit and bounce off an invisible shield. "Do not be foolish, my powers are great," the old man says calmly. "If you do not believe me, watch this." From out of nowhere, a flying fist appears, which smashes into your face before you can duck, losing you 1 stamina point. You shake your head and rub your jaw. You appear to have no alternative but to try to answer his question. The old man points at one of the statues, and you recognize it immediately. It is the knight who started the trial of champions. The agonized look on his face locked in stone for eternity. The old man smiles, saying, "This man weighs 100 pounds plus half his weight. How much does he weigh?" What will you answer?
So knowing that 150 was right, I'd like to
Yeah.
guess 100 or 200.
Don't think it's gonna be the 100. Let's try the 200. 200.
Yeah.
Still smiling, the old man looks at you and says, "Well done, stranger. You have answered correctly.
Ooh.
I wish you good fortune
So
during the rest
the
of
way
the
that
trial
trick
of
works is that he
champions.
kind of says it the wrong
And
way
to this
around.
end,
So
I shall increase your
The adventurer's
powers.
£200, so
He
half of
then
his weight
mutters
would be
a few
100.
more
plus
unintelligible
the original
words,
100.
and you feel a powerful surge soar through your body,
Gives you the 200.
increasing your skill, stamina, and luck by 1.
Hey,
You bid
that's
the
back.
old man farewell and leave his room to continue north along the passage. Only a few meters further down the passage, you see another closed door in the left-hand wall. The letter X is scratched into its center panel. Putting your ear to the door, you listen intently but can hear nothing.
So this was down, I believe. Oh, that's actually disappeared. The boulder up there. So.
Yeah, I'll go through this door.
Oh, okay.
The door opens into a large room. Looking around, you see an alcove in the west wall. In the middle of the room, sitting in the chair, is the skeleton of an armed warrior.
Would you like to take the parchment from the skeleton?
Yeah, because I'm guessing that learns the
Touching the
beast,
parchment
isn't it?
has precisely the
Manticore,
effect
yes.
you had feared.
Lightning, +3 advantage here.
You dodge to the side as the warrior swings its sword. You kick out, knocking its legs out from under it. You run around the jerking skeleton, smashing your sword into its arm.
And fight 3.
The skeleton is strong,
Also
but slow.
by skill.
You swing your sword, which smashes into its leg. Once again, you reach for the parchment, only this time lying amidst a pile of broken bones. Unfolding it, you see a map. At the back of the alcove are some steps leading down into a cellar. Cobwebs brush your face as you descend. The cellar ceiling is quite low, and the floor is strewn with debris. In the middle of the wall opposite you is an archway, which leads into another crystal-lit tunnel. There are large mushrooms growing on the debris to your right.
Mushrooms.
Yeah, let's not touch that.
The tunnel continues west for several hundred meters, finally ending at some steps leading up to a closed trapdoor. You climb the steps slowly, hearing muffled voices above you. In the dim light, you can see that the trapdoor is not locked.
So we can knock or bust through.
Burst through, yeah.
You throw the trapdoor open and run up the steps into a bright, lantern-lit room. 2 goblins are sharpening.
One at a time, unfortunately.
You thrust your sword, and you clearly damage
Still
the
a
creature.
win.
You
Plus
lunge
6,
at the creature's
which is
stomach with your sword drawn, but the
Aye.
creature whips around, parrying your
Perfectly
blow.
as well.
Neither of you are harmed.
Bad fortunate.
Your enemy is strong,
So,
but
again,
slow,
that's a win for
and
two.
screams in pain as your sword sinks into his
All
leg.
because of skill.
You both swing for each other, and in the
That's a win for
confusion,
you.
both miss.
Killing the first goblin.
You hurl yourself at
win.
your enemy, fists flailing, and land a stunning blow.
Second goblin. We start
You
with
thrust your
win.
sword, and you clearly damage the creature. Your enemy is strong, but slow,
Went from a
and
12
screams
all the way
in
down
pain
to-
as your sword sinks into his leg.
Yep, the goblin's out of luck, I'm afraid.
You hurl yourself at your enemy,
Oh,
fists
again,
flailing,
second one.
and land a stunning blow.
Nice.
Triumphant in one of your toughest battles to date, you see that the only furniture in the goblin's room is a table, 2 chairs, and a cupboard on the wall. There are 2 closed doors, one in the west wall and the other in the north wall.
open the cupboard or try either of the doors?
Available for thumbnails and stuff like that, you know
Last
what I
time?
mean? Emotes, you know. Go check them
I'll
out.
open the cupboard first. I can't remember what was in there now.
The cupboard contains a wooden mallet and 10 iron spikes, which you put in your backpack while wondering which door to open.
I swear
which-
there's a use for every item in this game, but there are some of them I still haven't seen.
Did I go west or north? I can't remember.
We went north.
Yeah,
Starfire
let's,
was up.
let's go north then.
Yep.
The door opens into another tunnel, which rises gently into the distance. After walking uphill for a while, the tunnel levels out, and you soon arrive at a door in the right-hand wall, to which a withered hand is nailed.
Like to open the door this time or continue north as you did?
Mate, that's his hours of
Sure, I'll open the door.
Yep.
You enter a room in which a man in tattered clothing is standing chained to the wall by his left arm. And you see that his right hand is missing and realize that this must be the one nailed to the door. Pleading for mercy, he cowers back from you as far as his chains will allow.
Cut the man free from the chains or leave the room.
I'll cut him free.
Yeah.
You step up to the frightened man and cleave the chain with your sword. He drops to his knees and bows, thanking you over and over again. He tells you that 4 years ago, he entered the trial of champions but failed. He fell down a pit and had to be rescued by a trial master, one of Baron Succumvit's dungeon administrators. He was offered a choice between death or servitude in Deathtrap dungeon as the trial master's minion. Choosing the latter, he worked like a slave until he could stand it no longer and tried to escape. Alas, he was unsuccessful and was captured by the trial master's wandering orc guards. To teach him a lesson, they cut off his hand and condemned him to a year's imprisonment in this cell. You ask him whether he has any information that might be of use to you. He scratches his head. Well, I haven't exactly done very well in here myself, but I do know that you need to collect gems and precious stones if you hope to get out. I don't know why, but there it is. Without another word, the ragged prisoner dashes out of the room, turning left into the tunnel. You decide to keep heading north and turn right. There is an open pipe in the right-hand wall, about 1 meter in diameter. It is too dark to see far down it. You shout into it and hear your voice echoing down the iron pipe until eventually the sound fades away.
Fell down
Cool.
the pipe as
Yeah.
that was where
The pipe
thing was.
is wet and slimy, but you crawl on into the dank darkness, slithering and sliding as you go. Suddenly your hand touches something hard and square, which feels as if it is made of wood.
Crawl back out and examine or press on
Yes, please.
forward? Crawl back out, yes.
Yes, sorry.
Removing the box lid by the light of the tunnel, you find an iron key and a large gem. It is a sapphire. Placing the items carefully in your backpack, you gain 1 luck point and set off north once again. There is a new branch in the tunnel on your left, and ahead you see 2 bodies lying on the floor. You stop and peer down the new tunnel, but seeing no doors or creatures, you decide against walking down it. With your sword drawn, you walk over to the bodies of the 2 orc guards. At least one of your rivals in the trial of champions must still be ahead of you. A quick search of the bodies produces nothing, apart from a necklace of teeth around the neck of one of the orcs.
Wear the necklace again?
Yes, please.
The necklace is an amulet of strength which adds 1 skill point and 1 stamina point. Pleased with your find, you continue your quest north. The tunnel soon ends at a junction. Standing there alone and wondering which way to go is one of your rivals. It is one of the barbarians. You call out to him, but at first he does not answer. He merely stares at you coldly, his hands firmly gripping his axe. You walk up to him and ask which way he is heading. He grunts his reply, saying that he is going west, and you may go with him if you wish.
Head west with the barbarian or head east?
Yeah, I'll head west with him.
Yep.
Although you are slightly uneasy in each other's company, knowing that there can only be one winner in the trial of champions, you are both content to share in the benefits of a temporary alliance. And you begin to tell each other of your exploits so far, of the monsters and traps encountered and the dangers overcome. Walking along, you soon come to the edge of a wide pit. It is too deep and dark to see to the bottom. The barbarian suggests he lowers you to the bottom with his rope, saying he has a torch which he can light for you to use.
Accept the barbarian's offer to lower him down, or suggest you both jump over the pit.
I accept his offer.
Yep.
You tie the rope around your waist and take hold of the lighted torch given to you by Throm, as your barbarian ally calls himself. Taking hold of the slack rope, Throm lowers you slowly over the edge of... On a stone ledge in the tunnel wall, you see 2 dusty leather-bound books. Throm grunts his contempt for the written word, urging you to leave the books and hurry on.
Would you like to read the red book, the black book, or continue north?
The red one, please.
Yeah.
As you open
That
the
tells
book,
us about the blood beast, so...
it immediately begins to disintegrate.
Oh, and now we know. Open the black book, or continue north.
Continue north.
Yep.
The tunnel turns sharply to the right, continuing east for as far as you can see. Throm stops and tells you to halt as well. He turns his head slowly from side to side, listening. I hear footsteps coming down the tunnel.
This, because it takes us right straight away.
You drop to the ground,
One.
sweeping away the troll's legs. It howls as its head hits the hard ground.
2.
The troll grabs you by
As
the
he
throat
loss.
and manages to half choke you before you get a chance to push it off.
And 3rd.
You drop to the ground, grab the creature, and ram its head hard
Currently
into the
minus
wall.
9 by the way. Just...
You look to the
Oh.
left and see Throm standing over the cave troll he
Yeah, I
has
need to
slain.
eat something, I think.
Blood is pouring out from a deep cut in his shoulder, but it does not seem to worry him. You search the bodies of the cave trolls, but find nothing apart from a bone ring on a leather cord hanging round the neck of one of them. The ring...
Yada. That before. Put the ring on or continue east.
Put the ring on.
Yep.
As soon as you put the ring on your finger, your whole body starts to shake. We'll see how skillful you really are. Remember, a roll equal to or less than your skill score
Don't roll a
means
12.
you've been skillful. But a roll higher than your skill could end badly. Your body continues to vibrate intensely.
Oh shit!
And you feel as if you're about to pass out.
Imagine you're
Your
rolling a 12. Oh
strength
yeah, the
is
ring
great,
takes over you and you die. Okay,
and you
yeah,
manage
game
to
over.
withstand the tremendous shock to your system. Finally, you calm down and begin to feel the ring's beneficial powers working on you and adding 3 stamina points. You see Throm looking at you anxiously. So you reassure him that you are fully recovered. He strides off east, and you follow him eagerly. The tunnel leads into a damp cavern with a high ceiling and rock-strewn floor. Long and wet, teeth-like stalactites hang down threateningly. Their constant dripping creates milky pools on the floor. The tunnel carries on through an archway carved in the shape of a demonic mouse.
Arch or head straight for the archway?
I sat in camera for fucking ages.
Fuck, I can't remember what I did last time.
Arch last time. I believe you searched last time.
Okay, let's search it then.
You walk around the cavern, but find nothing of interest. Throm calls out behind you, saying that he has found a leather pouch under a pile of rocks. Opening the pouch, he laughs out loud as a tiny mouse runs through his fingers and scurries off into the crevice behind two boulders. Suddenly, you hear the sound of cracking rock above you and look up to see stalactites breaking off from the roof. Throm's booming laugh, which still echoes through the chamber, has made the stalactites vibrate and break off. You yell at Throm to run through the archway as the stalactites start to crash to the floor. This will be a test of your luck. Despite the stalactites crashing all around you, you manage to dash through the archway without injury. You look around and see Throm thundering towards you, one arm held over his head for protection. He dashes into the tunnel and leans against the cold wall, panting heavily, apologizing for starting the rockfall, and offers you his hand to shake. You tell Throm that maybe he should use sign language in future, even for laughing. You both smile and head east once more. The tunnel ends at a large oak door.
This was the Trial Master, so I believe we persuaded him to go through with the dwarf's test last time.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
You
Quickly skip through this. So you roll an 8. Do you guess it will be less, more, or the same this time?
Less.
Yeah.
The dwarf
4,
congratulates you for guessing correctly.
I'm close for these.
He tells you that you must now progress to the second stage of the test. He reaches for a wicker basket and tells you that a snake is held within it. He tips
Hill run, which is 11 for you. So
with
good.
lightning speed. You thrust your hand out and grip the cobra just below its open mouth. You lift it up, and with your arm outstretched, you dangle it in front of the
Did
dwarf.
you figure out eventually what
He
the
doesn't
other
flinch, but says in his
anagram was?
calm, expressionless way.
No crop is?
Please put the cobra back in the basket and prepare for the final part of the
No.
test. Follow me.
You do what he says and follow him back into the chamber, where Throm is pacing up and down, obviously.
To that, so you can fight the ruin moat again, or you can fight the no crop is if you want.
Just trying to quickly think what it would
Marcus,
be. Let's do the no crop is.
You call out to the dwarf, telling him to send in the scorpion, because you are ready to fight. Slowly,
Scorpion.
the wooden door rises, and a huge, grotesque black scorpion squeezes underneath it and enters the room. You draw your sword in readiness and prepare to fight the sinister creature with its huge pincers and deadly sting. The scorpion will attack you with both pincers, and you must treat each pincer as a separate creature, as though you were fighting two creatures. Each pincer has its own skill level and will attack you separately in each attack round. You can only fight one pincer
So
in
the same
each
as the
attack
goblins,
round,
basically.
attacking it as in a normal battle.
Okay.
They both have 10 skill, so
The scorpion swings its
harder
huge,
fight.
venomous tail above its head. You step aside as it smashes into the floor, and you land an attack from the side.
this will just draw or
You
less.
try to run around
and
the
it
side
is
of the creature,
plus.
but it grabs your arm, throwing you hard into the wall.
First pincer again. That is a
The swinging,
loss
venomous
again.
tail is a formidable weapon, and you shriek as it sinks into your arm.
Okay, second pincer, so a draw or a loss. That
The
is
scorpion charges at you with its pincers
Draw.
snapping. You're able
a
to
win, but
jump
it's a draw.
quickly enough to avoid their sharp points.
finish off the first pincer now with
Speed
a
is
win.
improving. You run directly at the scorpion and slice at its pincer as you run by.
Right, take out the second pincer.
You manage to get around the back of
Loss.
your enemy, but it quickly kicks backward, catching you agonizingly in the stomach. The scorpion
Win.
takes a run at you. Its speed is impressive, but you jump aside, landing a heavy blow on its back.
And last attack.
The scorpion
another one.
swings its huge, venomous tail above its head.
Yay.
You step aside
Only
as it
minus
smashes into the
80.
floor, and you land an attack from the side. The dwarf calls down from the balcony, congratulating you on your victory. He throws the sack down into the arena and tells you to relax and regain your strength for the final part of the test. Then he walks off, saying he will return in about 10 minutes. You open the sack and find a jug of wine and a cooked chicken.
Are we eating the offering again?
Yeah.
The food and drink are excellent, and you feel much better, gaining 2 more stamina points. Fully satisfied, you sit down and await the dwarf's return. After about 20 minutes, the
And then he
dwarf
comes back
reappears
with
on the
good
back.
old friend from the barbarian. You have to. Begin,
You parry
unfortunately.
Throm's attack, but
Oh,
he is
that's
too
a loss.
strong, and you trip, cracking your head on the floor as you fall.
Good.
Throm swings at your head.
Oh,
Thankfully, you duck just
at
in
least.
time.
and attack 3.
You
is a
drop
win.
to the ground, sweeping away Throm's legs. You hate it as he howls as his head hits the hard ground. Exhausted by your long duel, you fall to your knees as you stare at Throm's still body. A bitter loathing for the dwarf fills your heart. Somehow, you will avenge Throm. Engulfed in your hatred, you do not notice the dwarf enter the arena until he is standing right in front of you, a loaded crossbow aimed at your chest.
I know what you are thinking,
He says calmly.
but remember that only I know the way out of here. Get up. It's time for you to leave.
And then we leave. Either do you want to walk straight out again or swing a punch?
I'm gonna punch him.
Okay.
The dwarf is expecting your move. Furthermore, you are not as fast as you should be because of your recent ordeal, so he easily evades your punch, saying,
I could kill you now if I wished, but I yearn for a hand-to-hand fight.
Then he throws down his crossbow and draws an axe from his belt. Despite your fatigue, you think only of vengeance. Because of your condition, you must reduce your skill by 2 for the duration of the battle.
Ooh, let's see if we can kill him.
Still have a higher skill.
The dwarf
That's
ducks
a
as you swing at
win
it,
though for him.
smashing its axe into your leg.
Take 2.
Pretending to be tired, you bend over, but grab a handful of dirt and throw it in the dwarf's face, making your subsequent attack effective.
Dirty tactics, I like it.
The dwarf runs at you, but you twist aside as your sword lands home.
Right now
The now dead dwarf's chainmail coat is of the finest quality iron, obviously made by a master armorer. You strip it from his body and place it over your head, gaining you 1 skill point. There is nothing else of use to you in the chamber.
Nice. Can I eat something as well,
So
please?
you decide to investigate the new tunnel, which soon divides into 2. You hear a buzzing sound coming from the western branch.
Okay. So, you can go north. I think we'll let you arrow up here at some point at the casket, or we can go west. What else there is?
Yeah, let's get the pill. Let's go north.
Yep.
The tunnel leads into a dark chamber, covered in thick cobwebs. Clawing your way through them, you trip over a wooden casket.
Open the casket?
Open it. Yeah.
The casket opens easily, and inside there is a black velvet bag containing a large pearl, gaining you 1 luck point. After putting the pearl in your pocket, you press on through the cobwebs. You reach the far wall of the chamber and see 2 doors.
You can open the door to the left or the door to the right one that you.
What the fuck?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
The door opens into another tunnel running north. Ahead you see 2 stone fountains, one on either side of the tunnel, carved in the shape of cherubs. Water spouts from their mouths and cascades into small bowls at their feet.
Fountain on the left, fountain on the right, or
The
continue?
right. The right one.
The cool water is refreshing and comes from a source which has been sprinkled with pixie dust, gaining you 1 stamina point and 2 skill points.
No. Drink from the other fountain or continue north?
Continue.
Leaning against the left-hand wall of the tunnel, you see a pair of bamboo stilts. They are securely chained, and you see a label attached to a padlock which reads, "The price of these stilts is 1 gold piece. Place the coin in the slot to release the lock."
Would you like to buy the stilts or keep walking north?
I will buy them.
There is a slot in the padlock into which you place the coin. Immediately the lock clicks apart, and you are able to unchain the stilts. You place them on your shoulder and once again set off north. A little farther on, you come to a section of the tunnel which is covered with thick green slime. It looks threatening, so you decide to test it first with a piece of cloth. The slime's corrosive jelly burns the cloth instantly, leaving no trace. You climb onto your stilts and take a few tentative steps across the floor. Your confidence grows, and you soon feel able to tackle the walk across the slime. Smoke rises from the base of the stilts as the slime starts to burn them away. You plod stolidly on and finally reach firm ground again. Unfortunately, the stilts are still covered in slime, and you are forced to dump them. Setting off north, you come to a junction.
You'll have your shot this time. Would you like to go west or go north?
Right, refresh the gas up.
Go north.
You soon arrive at a double door in the left-hand wall. You listen at the door but hear nothing. You try the handle, it turns, and you open the left door slightly and peer through the crack. An armed warrior is lying face down on the floor of a bare room.
Would you like to enter the room and take the jewel, or continue
No,
north?
thank you. Let's continue north.
The tunnel continues north for quite a distance before coming to a dead end. The mouth of a chute protrudes from the western wall, and it appears to be the only alternative to turning back. You decide to risk it and climb into the chute. You slide gently down and emerge into a room. As soon as you stand up,
Fight. The blood beast. Yay.
the creature turns and whips its tail
Has
at you.
12 skill.
The fierce spike at the end misses you by millimeters. You jump forward and strike a clean blow into its rear.
Attack number 2 is
Breathing heavily during your fight,
4 loss.
you begin to
you
succumb to the
outskilled?
toxic gas and fall, cracking your head on the floor.
And attack 3
The creature reaches for you with its
There's
mouth
another
in the
loss.
pool. You step back to avoid it, but slip on its fetid slime. It sinks its teeth into your ankle, costing you precious stamina. Your blade strikes one of the blood beast's real eyes with devastating effect. It's
Skip through to
the
fight
tunnel
manticore.
leads into a large room. You recognize the beast. You raise your shield.
Attack.
You lunge at the creature's
One.
stomach with your sword drawn. It tries to move, but you land a powerful blow.
Attack 2 is
The giant
also
creature
one.
whips its spiked tail at you, firing more spikes. You duck and roll, quickly slicing a chunk from its tail, passing close to you.
Attack the 3rd.
You seize an opportunity
Is
to attack the
dice, you
creature's
don't
back
lose
leg,
anything. Good stuff.
and manage to bury your sword deep into its thigh. As you are wiping the manticore's blood from your sword, you are surprised to see a small man jump out from behind one of the marble pillars. He is dressed in a tight-fitting green tunic and looks quite harmless, although you are wary of the way he is holding an opaque glass ball with a shimmering green light. "Greetings," he says cheerfully. "My name is Igbot, the gnome, and I am the trial master for your final test. Needless to say, my magical powers are great, so you should not try to attack me. You may have learnt, during your quest, that gems play an essential part in the trial of champions. The iron door in front of you is the victory exit, but there is only one way of opening it. 3 gems have to be put into the
And we
lock
have 3
mechanism
gems this time.
in the correct
Me.
order. Each gem radiates a unique energy,
Hope they're the right ones.
which will trigger the mechanism. If you do it correctly, that is. But first, we need the correct gems. First, you will need an emerald.
Which we have.
The gnome smiles and says, "You truly are a great adventurer. Now, you will also need a sapphire."
Oh, which we have.
The gnome, still smiling, says excitedly, "Excellent. Just one to go. Lastly, you'll need a diamond."
No!
The gnome shakes his head and says, "I'm afraid that you have failed the trial of champions. Baron Succumvit's Deathtrap dungeon will keep its secrets for another year, as you will not be allowed to leave here.
Oh.
You are appointed my servant for the rest of your days to prepare and modify the dungeon for future contestants. Perhaps, in another life, you will succeed."
And that is ale number 2. Right. We got
Blah,
2
blah,
of the
blah.
gems. But a diamond still lurks in the dungeon. Somewhere.
A diamond in the midst.
so there is still quite a few places to check.
Yeah.
Or do you want to go back? That's where you got the sapphire, so that's I don't know if you want to try here or go along, or can't go there as well. You want to try up here first because you've already got 2 of the gems.
Was that the room though? That was a trap. I can't remember now.
No, that's up here.
Ah, right.
Actually,
Okay.
no, sorry, that's that. I think it's the trap room.
Okay. Yeah, let's go back to there then.
The
We
now
know we
dead
don't need the
dwarf's
pearl now,
chainmail
so
coat
going up that way is kind of pointless.
is of the finest quality iron, obviously made by a master armorer. You strip it from his body and place it over your head, gaining you 1 skill point. There is nothing else of use to you in the chamber, so you decide to investigate the new tunnel, which soon divides into 2. You hear a buzzing sound coming from the western branch.
I also noticed that the game has bugged out here because we got 11s.
I can't wait till our next
Okay.
shot.
That. So walk west to see what is making the noise, or continue north?
Yeah.
No way!
West?
There is a large panel of glass in the left-hand wall of the tunnel. Through it, you can see a bright, torch-lit room teeming with giant insects of every possible description. Bees, wasps, beetles, ticks. Even the mites are over 6 centimeters long. The noise is threatening. In the middle of the room, a jeweled crown lies on top of a small table. What looks like a large diamond is set in the middle of the crown.
Would you like to break the glass and try and snatch the crown, continue west, or return to the junction in north?
Let's break the glass and try to snatch the crown. It sounds too good to be true, so let's just try it.
Yep.
You smash the glass with the hilt of your sword, making a hole big enough to climb through. Immediately, the giant insects start swarming and jumping towards you. Wasting no time, you clamber into the room, grabbing one of the lit torches to defend yourself. The fire keeps most of the insects at bay, but by the time you have snatched the crown and climbed back into the corridor, some of them have stung you. We'll roll 1 die and add 2 to the total to decide how many stings you have suffered, reducing your stamina by 1 for each sting. The giant insects
5
do not
damage.
chase you, preferring the bright light of the room they are in. You examine the crown and see with disgust that it is merely painted iron, and the diamond is just glass and totally worthless.
Oh,
You
fuck.
throw it on the
Wow.
ground in a rage and wonder which way to go next.
Something. If. Continue heading west, or return to the junction and head north?
West.
Ahead, in the far distance, you hear the sound of slow footsteps coming towards you. Unsure of who or what might be approaching, you look around for a place to hide. You see a large crack in the tunnel wall which lies in shadow.
Stand your ground with your sword drawn, or hide in the shadows?
Oh, mate,
Hide.
You have to squeeze yourself deep into the crack to conceal yourself completely. From this cramped position, you are unable to see the owner of the feet that shuffle slowly by. A minute later, all is quiet again as you pull yourself back out into the tunnel and head west. After a short while, you arrive at another junction in the tunnel with a choice of 2 directions.
So, That was where the
Okay,
Great Crown was, so you can keep heading west or go north.
keep heading west.
Yeah.
The tunnel turns sharply to the right and continues north for as far as you can see. There is a door in the left-hand wall which is ajar, and you hear someone cry for help from the other side of it.
Open the door where the cry is coming from or continue north.
Open the door.
The door opens into a small room with a straw-covered floor. There is a large draped cage standing some 2 meters high in the center of the room. A cord fixed to the top of the drape runs through an iron ring in the ceiling and hangs down to the floor.
Pull the drape up or leave the room and head north.
Pull the drape up.
Yeah.
You pull the cord and watch the drape as it rises up the sides of an iron cage. The woman's voice urges you to be quick, telling you that the room is booby-trapped, so that the floor will fall away in 1 minute because of your extra weight.
They'll wish to help or leave the room completely.
Leave.
The tunnel continues for quite a distance before you reach a junction.
That room alone, and now choices again, head west, the new tunnel, or continue north.
Head west into the new tunnel.
Yep.
Ahead, you see that the tunnel turns a corner, beyond which it continues north. You stop before the corner, startled by the sound of high-pitched voices, whispering and sniggering.
Draw your sword or walk back to the junction and head north.
Draw my sword.
You peep around the corner and see 2 small creatures running away from you. Both are dressed in baggy clothes and wear pointed floppy hats. They are mischievous leprechauns.
Follow the leprechauns or head back.
Follow them.
Running after the leprechauns, you hear more laughter, only now it is behind you. You look round and see 6 more emerging from a hidden door in the tunnel wall. Yet another leprechaun drops on your back from a ledge fixed to the ceiling. Shaking him off, you draw your sword, whereupon the laughing gets even louder.
Attack the leprechauns or walk past them.
Attack them.
Before you can take a single step towards the leprechauns, one of them throws some sparkling dust at you. You are immediately frozen to the spot, unable to move a muscle. You watch helplessly as the leprechauns rummage through your backpack and run off with all your possessions, leaving your backpack empty and also robbing you of 2 luck points. About an hour later, the freezing effect of the dust wears off and feeling returns to your limbs. You are angry at your loss and stomp off north, determined to have your revenge. The tunnel leads north for some distance before coming to a dead end. The mouth of a chute protrudes from the tunnel's eastern wall. It seems to be the only way out, so you decide to risk it and climb into the chute. You slide gently down and emerge in a new room, landing on your back.
That looks familiar. So, I guess to save a little bit of time and fighting those things again, you know how you
As
have
soon as
no
you
gems
stand
right
up,
now.
You are confronted by the most repulsive.
Shall we head back a bit?
Yeah.
Um,
Can we go back
yeah, sure.
to that place with the That room with the booby-trapped room with the... Just before the leprechauns.
Oh, what, the one with this one? This was the one with the...
Yeah.
Pulling the drape up.
Yeah.
I think we need...
After a short while,
keep it. Because
the tunnel turns sharply to the right.
go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The door opens into a small room with a straw-covered floor. There is a large draped...
Pull the drape up or leave the room?
Yes. Pull it up.
You pull the cord and watch the drape as it rises up the sides of an iron cage. The woman's voice urges you to be quick, telling you that the room is booby-trapped, so that the floor will fall away in 1 minute because of your extra weight.
Still wish to help?
Yeah, I'll help.
The drape rises to the top of the cage, and there, to your horror, you see the face of an aged woman whose hair is a mass of seething snakes. It is the dreaded Medusa.
No!
Are you lucky enough to avoid her gaze? Recognizing the snake-like
Jackson.
head of the Medusa, you close your eyes to avoid her deadly stare that would turn you to stone.
Enter the cage with your eyes closed to dispose of her, or retreat out of the room.
Enter and dispose of her.
Yeah.
The Medusa shrieks as you enter her cage. Keeping your eyes firmly closed and slashing your sword wildly from side to side, you feel the blade sink deep into her side and hear a loud thud as she slumps heavily to the ground. You open your eyes again and shudder at the sight of the prostrate figure of the Medusa. Her gown is fastened by a large brooch bearing a single bright red gem. It is a garnet, and you prize it out of its setting, put it in your pocket, and leave the room to head
Another gem, but
north.
unfortunately not the diamond
The
that we are
tunnel
looking for.
continues for quite a distance before you reach a junction.
Head west, where certain small people are, or continue
No.
north?
Let's go north.
Yeah.
A brown velvet curtain is draped over an archway in the eastern wall of the tunnel.
Pull back the curtain and continue through the archway, or continue north.
Pull back the curtain.
You enter a cold room, divided by a deep chasm. A rope is stretched taut across the chasm to the far side, where a magnificent winged helmet rests on top of a pole.
Walk across the tightrope to get the helmet, or return to the tunnel and continue north.
Return to the tunnel and continue north.
Yeah.
The tunnel continues north a long way before turning sharp right. Around the corner you come to a dead end. Only the mouth of a wooden chute in the wall offers any hope of further progress. You decide to take a chance and climb into the chute.
The chute, slightly bit there. End unfortunately.
Okay.
There
You slide.
is... That's what, 5 deaths, technically 4 fails at this rate. You know, so we're down to the last half hour. Would you like to see the way to the diamond?
Yeah.
We have kind of skipped the way to get it.
Oh, have we? Oh, right, okay.
All the way back there.
Oh, shite.
There is one thing you skipped round.
Not much farther down the
and,
tunnel. You come.
north.
The tunnel twists and turns, but keeps steadily north.
So the light that you walked around twice,
Yeah.
if you walk through
As
it,
soon as your head goes under the blue light, you hear the sound of muffled voices. The faces are no longer laughing, but have changed their expressions to one of despair and anguish. A young girl's sad face hovers in front of you, and she begins to whisper a poem. Transfixed, you listen intently, believing that she has a special message for you as she recites, "When corridor doth water meet, do not make a quick retreat. Take a breath and jump deep in, if your trial you hope to win." Memorizing the spirit girl's poem, you step through the shaft of light and quickly head on north. You
I
come
just
to an
spun through a little bit of this.
arched doorway set
Get to the next part. So go east.
You walk down.
I think jumping over the pit is just
Taking a step forward, you
check.
leap towards the edge of the pit.
Yeah, it's a lot.
How lucky are you feeling? Rolling equal to
I'll get you through to
or
the
less than your luck
bit
score
that we haven't checked
means
yet, and
you've
then we
been
can
lucky.
move.
Okay.
But a higher roll
Visions.
could cost you.
Full roll, please. Thank you.
Your armor.
Do.
The tunnel
So that's
Makes a
just the
sudden
guy
left
with the
turn.
stone statues. So keep going north. Open door. I guess we do have to fight the skeleton to learn about the manticore.
You run around the jerking.
One. Two.
The skeleton
is
is strong.
Also one. Three.
You dodge to the side as the warrior.
Attack, so we don't lose it.
Once
Bang.
again, you. At the back of the alcove are some steps leading down in.
Don't stop to eat the mushrooms.
No, we don't do that.
We burst through it. Surprisingly enough, knocking on the trapdoor, which is what I did, is an insta-kill.
Oh.
You throw the trapdoor
Because
open
Give the
and run.
goblins time to get ready. Don't take
Your
quite time
enemy
with it
is strong.
You did dodge
You
quite a
lunge
few
at the
insta-kills
creature's stomach with your sword.
Cool.
through the early part.
You hurl.
They roll really badly.
You both swing.
Fine.
You
Also
thrust
fine.
your sword, and you clearly damage the creature. Your enemy.
11, not bad.
You hurl.
Die, so we win. And last one.
You thrust your sword, and you clearly. Triumphant in one of.
I'll be honest, I don't know what the mallet and the 10 spikes are for. I don't think I've found out that thing yet. Right. North. That's the withered hand. North. Type. Go back out. The press on further is
Removing
also
the
an
box
insta-kill.
lid,
As the
there is a new branch.
pipe just goes down instead of across.
In the tunnel.
Necklace helps you, so that's fine.
The tunnel.
Headway. The second option to offer him down is pretty much the exact same thing. You both stay together. Although it gives you this choice, you can jump over the pit yourself. Stay with him.
On a stone.
The red leather book was the blood beast stuff. You know how you died to that room with the ceiling trap,
Yeah.
and it said that you
The
could have
book
had a
pages
potion
are
to
sealed
detect
together,
hidden traps.
but a
Oh,
small
was it
hole.
that?
The liquid
Wow.
is a magical potion that will enable you to detect hidden traps and adds 2
Damn it.
luck points.
You had it and you left it.
I completely forgot.
So
Setting off the tunnel.
the cave trolls.
You drop
Oh,
to
we're
the
up to
ground.
12, nice. Don't get many 12s in this game, I'll give it.
You
Okay, sorry,
hurl
I'm sorry, I
yourself at your
spoke.
enemy.
Okay.
Fists flailing.
I'm sorry I said we don't get many 12s. We both get 12s, what the hell was
The
that?
trolls. You look to the left.
We don't...
The tunnel.
we don't need to search the chamber.
The tunnel ends.
Check. Yeah, we've got the dwarf. Hopefully it's still less than 8. Oh,
The
you...
dwarf looks at the dice.
Not very good at playing the odds, are you?
God damn it.
He sneers.
I regret you must suffer a
This is
penalty
what happens if you
before
would have
can
got that wrong.
continue.
From out of his pocket, he produces 2 pills. One is stamped with the letter S, and the other stamped with the letter L. He asks you to choose one and swallow it.
So in this option, we'll pick L because it's either skill or luck. You really need a high
The
skill
pill
for
makes you feel as though
fights.
the whole world is against you, reducing your luck points by
Down
2.
to 7 luck at this point. The
With
cobra
lightning
with fight the minotaur because that's an easy fight.
you call out to the dwarf. Your speed is...
One.
The Minotaur leans
Also
forward.
one. Yep.
The Minotaur... The dwarf calls down.
Eating drinks, so we
The
get stamina back. Fight our friend from the barbarian again.
You drop to...
One.
Thrum is tall.
One.
You hurl your...
And we win.
Exhausted,
Look straight in, we'll save the
The
fight with the
tunnel.
dwarf. We are almost
soon divides.
look west.
There is
Continue west.
a head in the far distance.
In hiding shadows, we don't really.
You
got
have to
encounter.
squeeze yourself. After a short while,
And now we go north. So this is the path of the
set
diamond.
back in the arched alcove in the tunnel wall, you see an ornate wooden chair
So I'll
carved
hand
in the
choices
shape
back
of
over
a
to you now.
demon-like bird of prey.
So we can either sit in the chair or keep going north.
Sitting out. I'm curious.
Yeah.
You grip the arms of the chair tightly, half expecting a surge of energy or pain to rush through your body. Do you think luck is on your side?
Oh god.
No, it's
Squeezing
not too
the
bad.
arm of the chair triggers a secret panel which springs into the air. You find a glass vial lying in a cavity. You pick it up and read the label. Doppelganger potion, 1 dose only.
Oh.
This liquid will make your body take on the shape of a nearby being. You place the strange potion in your backpack and continue
Very
north,
lucky.
where the tunnel starts to slope downwards and finally comes to an end at a deep pool enclosed by the tunnel wall. The words of the spirit girl's poem flash through your mind.
The words kind of screw
When
up here, but-
corridor doth water meet, do not make a quick retreat. Of course, it is here that she wants you to dive into the water. Now,
So this
You
would
must
only allow you
decide
to
what to
dive
do.
in if you had. Yeah, so you can dive into the
Right.
water or walk back down the tunnel.
Dive.
Because if you don't hear the poem,
somewhat
then you basically
nervously,
just turn back
you
around
take a
and
deep
walk
breath and
Oh,
dive
okay.
into
Okay.
the dark pool.
away.
The northern wall does not project very far beneath the surface of the water, and you decide to take the risk to swim under it. Soon, you start gasping for air and are forced to swim upwards. Trying not to think that you could be trapped in an old submerged tunnel, you are relieved when you surface into cool air. You are on the other side of the wall and can see the tunnel rising out of the water and continuing north into the distance. You wade out of the water and check if you've been lucky with the contents of your wet backpack. 2 portions of your provisions are saturated and are now inedible. Other than that, all your other possessions remain intact.
Good.
You repack them carefully inside your backpack and set off north again.
Yeah, now we get to the secretive bit that we wouldn't have
A
had
little
access
way
to.
along on the left of the tunnel wall, you reach the entrance of a large cavern from which you hear a girl's voice crying for help. You can just make out the shape of a human figure rolling about on the floor at the back of the cavern.
Enter the cavern and investigate, or continue north?
Yeah. Honestly, I think
Enter
the
and
captain's right.
investigate.
As you approach the prostrate figure, you see she is an elf, one of your rivals in the Trial of Champions, and she is fighting for her life in the bone-crushing grip of an enormous boa constrictor.
Help to fight the boa constrictor, or leave and back off?
Help to fight.
With one swipe of your trusty blade, you behead the boa constrictor. You uncoil its massive body from around the elf and try to resuscitate her. Her eyes open a little, but you can see that there is no hope. She looks at you and smiles, and then says in a whisper, "Thank you. I know it's too late for me, but I will tell you what I've learned. Your way out lies ahead, but you need gems to unlock the final door. One of them is a diamond, but I do not know what the others are. Alas, I have not found a diamond, but would urge you to look for one. Good luck."
We know we need
Her
a
eyes
diamond, but we won't
close.
tell you why.
And she slumps down onto the cold floor. You watch sadly as she breathes her last, knowing she would not mind you take 2 of her daggers and search her leather backpack. Inside, you find some unleavened bread, a mirror, and a bone charm in the shape of a monkey.
Eat the bread and take the items, or take the mirror and the charm and leave in the bread and return to the tunnel?
Eat the bread, take the items.
Yeah.
The bread contains secret elven healing herbs, which increase your stamina by 3 points.
Hey.
Feeling sad, yet strong, you pack away the mirror and the charm and leave the cavern to head north. Walking along the tunnel, you notice an iron grill in the floor.
And stop to lift up the iron grill, or keep walking?
Do we have the diamond now?
No, she just mentions diamond.
Right, okay. Stop and lift it up.
Lying in a hole about a meter deep, you see a grappling iron and a leather pouch.
Reach down for the grappling iron in the leather pouch, or ignore them and continue north.
Reach down.
You reach down into the hole and suddenly your blood runs cold as you feel something warm and sticky wrapping itself around your arm. You manage to pull your arm out of the hole, but a hideous tentacled limb with unbelievably strong suckers is clinging to you. By the time you manage to cut yourself free, your arm is trembling with pain, and you wonder whether luck is on your side.
Oh shit.
No, it's not.
Oh, it was a mistake to reach into the hole with your sword. It is covered with round sucker marks and feels as if it has been crushed, costing you 3 skill points. You peer into the hole and see the bleeding tentacle stump hanging limply. So you carefully pull out the grappling iron and leather pouch, in which you find a tiny brass bell. you pack away your new possessions and head north. A door comes into view in the left-hand wall of the tunnel. You listen carefully at it and hear nothing. The door is not locked, and the handle turns easily.
Open the door or keep walking along the tunnel?
Let's open it.
Yeah.
The door opens into a small, dark room, which is empty apart from a sturdy wooden chest lying on a shelf on a far wall. The floor is thick with dust, and you can clearly see fresh footprints leading from the door to the chest and back again. You wonder whether one of your rivals is still ahead of you on the walk, or whether the chest has only recently been placed on the shelf by one of the trial masters.
Enter the room and open the chest, or keep walking down the tunnel?
Enter and open it.
Although you cannot see any visible trap, you have a strong feeling that the chest contains a hidden danger. The potion of trap detection is working well. You stand to one side of the chest and lift the lid with your sword, holding it at arm's length. As the lid rises, an iron ball hanging on a cord swings back and breaks a glass capsule fixed inside the lid, instantly releasing a gas. Fortunately, you have time to jump back without inhaling the poisonous fumes. Once the gas is cleared, you walk back to the chest and look inside it. There is a pendant chain lying in the bottom, but somebody has taken the stone from its setting. You feel so annoyed that you throw the chain onto the floor and storm out of the room, up the tunnel.
Wonder what was in the pen.
The tunnel starts to widen, and ahead you see it's opened into a huge cavern from where you can hear the sound of many high-pitched voices. You creep up to the entrance and take a look inside. There are about 20 tiny people with long noses and ears running in a circle around a large golden effigy.
Walk up and talk to them. Try to creep past them, or drink a doppelganger potion. If only we had one of those.
Yeah, let's drink a potion.
Yeah.
You pour the contents of the glass vial into your mouth and swallow the clear liquid. Although you do not feel any immediate change, you hope that the potion will create the illusion that you are a troglodyte, just like the ones in front of you. Taking a deep breath, you step boldly into the cavern. The troglodytes continue their tribal dance, believing you to be one of them. You walk past them casually and head north. Unfortunately, the effects of the potion are short-lived. Suddenly, you hear a shriek behind you as one of the troglodytes spots you, and you are forced to run across the cavern floor. Ahead, you see an underground river running east to west through the cavern, and a wooden bridge crossing over it.
Run over the bridge or dive into the river?
Dive into the river.
Still running as fast as you can, you reach into your backpack and pull out the wooden tube. You plan to lie under the surface of the water, breathing through the tube. With luck, the troglodytes will assume that you were swept to your death downriver as the torrent disappears into the depths of the mountain. You bite the tube between your teeth and lower yourself into the water. Holding on to one of the underwater bridge pillars, you keep perfectly still for 10 minutes. When you finally think the troglodytes have gone, you rise to the surface and look around. There is nobody to be seen. So you climb out of the river and cross the bridge to the northern bank. You are soaked, so unfortunately any remaining provisions you may have are now inedible. You continue to walk through the vast cavern until at
I don't remember
last you
seeing
see a
that last
tunnel
time.
in a
Yeah, for the sake of this, I'm just going to rewind
far
this.
wall. The tunnel starts to widen, and ahead
provisions
you
might
see
be
it's
needed
opened
later on.
into a huge cavern.
We'll have the potion. We'll just run over the bridge.
Yeah.
After crossing the bridge,
For
you run
the
across
safety
the
of getting
cavern
through
floor. At last, you see a tunnel in the far wall, which you race down until you reach its end at a heavy wooden door. The door is locked.
Oh.
The key turns in the
Dun,
lock,
dun, dun.
and the door opens into a four-way intersection of the tunnel. There is nothing to be seen, either to the east or to the west, apart from the now familiar ceiling crystals giving off their dim light. And suddenly you hear a voice calling you. This way, this way. You are on the right track. It seems to be coming from somewhere directly ahead of you. Your curiosity gets the better of you, and you decide to walk towards the beckoning voice. The tunnel bends sharply to the right, and around the corner you see a little old man with a long beard, cowering behind a large wicker basket. The basket is tied to a rope, the other end of which disappears into the ceiling. The old man sounds very worried as he says, "Do not attack me, stranger. I pose no threat to you. I am simply here to help you. If you will be so kind as to offer me some sort of remuneration, I will gladly haul you up in the basket to the upper level. And believe me, that is where you ought to be."
Interesting. Give the man something from your backpack, or walk past him down the tunnel.
Give him something from my backpack.
See this silence quite a few times. So offer a provision as payment, offer something else, or walk past him.
A provision.
After paying off the old man, you climb into the wicker basket and watch as he tilts his head back and shouts, "Pull it up, Ivy!" The rope goes taut, and the basket rises jerkily off the ground. As you are hauled higher and higher, the old man calls out to you, saying, "You'll like Ivy. She's a nice girl. We call her Poison Ivy." He starts to laugh uncontrollably, and you wonder, somewhat apprehensively, just who is hauling you up. The basket goes through the ceiling, and you find yourself in a small chamber, face to face with an ugly old female troll. Her face is hairy and covered with warts. With a huge hand, she reaches forward and hauls you out of the basket, which she lets fall to the floor below. She grabs you round the throat and says in a husky voice, "I want paying, too."
Give Ivy something from your backpack. Try to talk your way out of her giving her anything, or attack her with your sword.
Give her something from my backpack.
Silence again. Provision, something else. Try talking your way out, or attack.
Offer something else.
Yep. Offer a coin as payment. Offer something else. Try and talk your way out, or attack.
Let's offer a coin.
Yeah.
Without even pausing to thank you, Ivy pushes you out of her chamber, through a door in the east wall. You find yourself standing at the end of a tunnel, with a flight of stone steps leading downwards. From the floor below, you can hear the sound of barking dogs. There is nowhere to go except down the steps towards the sound. It's a shame you don't have a bone to throw down and distract them with. You reach the bottom and, with your sword drawn, face the two huge black guard dogs, which leap at you, one at a time. You may escape after killing the first guard dog.
Attack. We haven't
You
actually
manage
had
to
to deal
grab
with it,
one of
but
its
I will
legs,
mention if you
flipping
do
it
escape,
over,
it does
but
count
it's
as
able to
losing,
regain
so
its
you will
balance,
take 2
withdrawing
damage.
quickly. Neither of you are harmed.
So there isn't really a need to.
You lunge for the dog, but it quickly jumps
Because
aside,
you usually have
and
more
your
skill
sword
and
clangs into the wall. Neither
roll.
of you are harmed. The dog jumps at you, knocking you flat to the floor. You kick the creature away, but only after it tore a chunk from your leg.
Want to escape or fight the second dog?
Fine.
Yep.
With the first guard dog dealt with, you turn your attention to the second snarling creature.
Those 7 skills are
Coming at you
built
snarling,
off of.
you're able to swipe your sword hard, removing part of the dog's tail. Again, the creature leaps at you, tearing flesh from your legs with its sharp claws.
And third.
You're
There's
able to
one.
grab the rear leg of the dog and flip it over, smashing its head into the ground. Standing over your now motionless foe, you see a metal capsule attached to the collar of one of the guard dogs. You prise off the top and find a small tooth inside. It is a leprechaun's tooth, which will bring you good fortune, already gaining you 2 luck points.
Yeah, we got a luck
You
back.
put the tooth in your pocket and set off east along the tunnel. The tunnel veers sharply to the left and comes to an end at a high wall in which there is a door. You hear a ferocious roar from the other side of the wall, and you wonder what gargantuan beast could make such a noise. You have no choice but to open the door.
The only way we can.
As the wall is too smooth to climb. Taking a deep breath, you turn the handle and enter a sand-covered pit. There, standing some 10 meters tall on its huge hind legs, in front of large double doors in the opposite wall, is an enormous dinosaur-like monster. It has a tough, mottled green hide and a mouth lined with razor-sharp teeth. Its jaws open and close with bones snapping power. And even
Clever
you
girl.
cannot help trembling as you approach it with your sword drawn.
Fortunately, the pit fiend has 12, so you're gonna have to roll pretty
You
good.
seize an
and that is
opportunity
lucky
to
stuff.
attack the creature's leg, but it's ready for
Yikes.
you. Before you can
Have to roll
strike, it
pretty well
pierces
here.
your shoulder with its razor-sharp claw.
Take 2.
You run to avoid
Yep,
the
that's a
whipping
tie, so
tail,
that
but
wins.
stumble. And with a speed you could never imagine from a creature this size, it sinks its teeth agonizingly into your leg.
Third.
The giant creature whips its huge tail
loss.
directly at you.
So,
You
want
duck
to eat
too
a
late
couple
and it
of
smashes you
yours?
onto a wall, costing you
Yeah,
valuable
eat.
stamina. You are exhausted and sit down for a rest on the tail of the dead beast. Looking down at your feet, you suddenly notice an iron ring poking up through the sand.
pull the ring or leave the pit via the double doors.
Pull.
The iron ring is attached to a small trapdoor. It lifts up easily, and inside a small compartment you find a finely crafted shield made of the purest iron. Marveling at its splendor, you strap it on your arm, gaining you 1 skill point.
Hey.
You walk towards the double doors and push them open. The doors open into a tunnel running north. You close the doors behind you and set off once again. Walking along, you see a red line painted across the tunnel floor and notice a sign on the wall which reads, "No weapons beyond this point."
Abandon any weapons before continuing north or ignore the notice and carry on.
I can actually have fun with detective fucking
Ignore.
The tunnel leads into a marble-floored hall with pillars rising right up to the ceiling. As you cross the floor, your footsteps echo through the hall. The hairs on the back of your neck start to prickle, and you soon sense unseen eyes watching you. Unknown to you, one of your rivals is hiding behind a pillar. It is the ninja, a deadly assassin dressed in black robes. Without a sound, he steps out from behind the pillar and throws a star-edged disc at your back. Instinctively, an inner voice tells you to duck. But how's your luck? The razor-sharp disc whistles past your head and bites deep into one of the pillars. Turning to face your would-be assassin, you prepare yourself as he advances, his long sword drawn.
Like the ninja, who has, unfortunately, 11.
The
But
ninja
we rolled
leaps
a
at
12,
you,
so we're good.
his sword screeching towards your head. But you parry and are able to kick the fighter directly in the stomach.
Oh,
You find a used throwing disc and hurl it as the ninja unleashes another. He cackles with laughter as his thuds into your leg.
take 3.
You find a
Oh,
rock
it was a little
lying
good.
in the corner and throw it hard toward a pillar where the ninja is hiding. As he looks around it, the rock hits him agonizingly in the face. You decide to search the ninja and find a cloth bag in the folds of his robes. Inside it is a flask of water, some rice wrapped in a palm leaf, a jar of ointment, and a beautiful diamond.
Hey!
Eat the rice and drink the water. Rub some of the ointment onto your wounds. Take only the diamond and leave the hall.
Thanks, Rob. I got a lot of points.
Blah.
Flat,
Take the diamond and leave.
Yep.
The only possible way out of the hall, as far as you can see, is by using the chute in the northern
Oh,
wall.
shoot. Oh, that's interesting.
You decide to give it a go and climb into the chute. You slide down gently.
I think we saw pretty much every chute being used in this run. Because I'm pretty sure there's 5, and I think we've hit all 5.
Landing on your back in another room. As soon as you stand up, you are confronted by the most repulsive sight you have ever laid eyes on. There in front of you, wallowing in a circular pool of fetid slime, is a bulbous creature too horrible to be believed. Its body is green and covered all over with fearsome-looking spikes. Its face is a mass of crimson blisters, one of which suddenly bursts to reveal yet another of its many sinister, all-seeing eyes. A narrow path runs around the edge of the pool and leads into another tunnel in the far wall. Remembering the description of the vile blood beast and the warning about the toxic gas rising from its pool, you cover your mouth with your sleeve and step forward with your sword drawn, wary of the blood beast's tongue. As you step around the side of the pool, it rolls forward and flicks out its tongue. But you are ready for it and cleave it with one swipe of your sword. The beast howls in pain and stretches forward frantically, trying to clasp you between its blood-filled jaws. You start hacking at its hideous face in an attempt to pierce its real eyes.
Fight the blood beast for the well, technically the 3rd time, but really the 5th time.
Breathing heavily during your fight,
That's a loss.
you begin to succumb to the toxic gas and fall, cracking your head on the floor.
Take 2.
The creature reaches for you with its
Another
mouth
loss.
in the pool. You step back to avoid it, but slip on its fetid slime. It sinks its teeth into your ankle, costing you precious stamina.
And the third.
The blood beast's tail whips around you.
Lost.
You duck, but not quickly
Eat some
enough.
Need to
provision
And
shop.
it
eat.
punctures your arm
I'm gonna
deeply.
mute in
Your
Discord for
blade
just a sec.
strikes
as
one of the
something's
blood
happened in
beast's
stream,
real
so
eyes
just
with
Sure.
devastating effect. It slumps back
Okay, whilst this
into
is
its
playing on,
pool,
thank you Stan and
thrashing
Glenn for
about
the
in a
raid, much
frenzy.
appreciated.
You seize the opportunity and
Sorry
run
if I'm not
around
speaking
the
too much
side
in
of the
chat. I'm
pool
trying
to the
to
tunnel
talk in
exit.
chat. You'll probably see the subtitles here.
The tunnel
We're playing a
leads into
choose your own
large
adventure
room.
style game called
Its
Deathtrap
ceiling
Dungeon.
supported
I've been
by
running
several
for a few
marble
weeks.
pillars.
So
As you enter the room,
I will run. I'll
you see
quickly
a
run through the
strange
follows
beast
so
to your
far.
right.
Uh,
It has the body of a
As to,
lion with dragon-like
followed
wings
before
attached
there's
to it,
double raid.
but its
And then
head
thanks again to Stan
is like
and
that of
Glenn
an
for the raids.
old bearded man.
Kirsten,
You recognize
Dylan,
the beast.
Twixter, Potato
is a
Soup,
manticore.
Dutch Albion, and Disintegrated.
Taking heed of the
Thank you very
warning
much for the
tone
follows.
you took from the skeleton
But
warrior,
we are almost at the end of this,
you watch out for
hopefully.
its tail, which sprouts a profusion of sharp
So
spikes.
unfortunately the
at its tip,
stream won't be running for too much
thick and
longer. We're just
hard
trying
as
to
iron bolts.
end Kate,
You raise your
aka Rob's
shield
better
in front
half.
of you just in time to protect yourself from
It's
a
her
volley of
week to
spikes
run
released from the
the
manticore's
dungeon,
tail,
so
and aim straight at
I
your
will speak a
heart.
little bit after we've finished, but
They
we're just
sink
trying to
into
finish
your
up the now, so
shield,
apologies if I don't
and
talk
you
too much
remain
to you.
unharmed.
I will try and just talk in chat as I
Swiftly,
have
you
been
draw
doing.
your sword and advance on the manticore.
Right, we're back. Fight the manticore.
You run to avoid the whipping tail, but stumble,
Oh yeah, we need to
and
eat
a
that
spike from it thuds
one.
agonizingly into your shoulder. The creature
Once again.
runs directly at you. You move too late, and the creature smashes you onto a wall, costing you valuable stamina.
And thud.
You
Another
seize an
loss.
opportunity to attack the creature's leg, but it's ready for you. And before you can strike,
What the hell's going
it
on?
rips
Give me
your
2
leg with
seconds,
its
okay.
razor-sharp claws. As you are wiping the manticore's blood
Another
from your
raid, so
sword,
technically this is a quadruple
you're
raid now.
surprised to see a small man jump out
If
from
Josh
behind one of
raided
the marble
Glenn
pillars.
before he raided me, and now Daz
He's
as well.
dressed in a tight-fitting
Welcome
green
raiders from
tunic,
everywhere,
and
from all
looks quite
corners of
harmless,
the...
although you are wary of the way he is holding an opaque glass ball.
This
with a
is
shimmering
Deathtrap
green
Dungeon. It's an
light.
interactive, choose-your-own-adventure style game.
Greetings, he says cheerfully. My name is
I've been
Igbot, the
running
gnome,
Kate or Rob's better
and
half
I am
through
the
it
trial master
the
for your
past 3
final
hours, so
test.
we're almost
Needless
out.
to say, my magical powers
Hopefully
are
we can
great,
complete this, and then I'll
so you should not
have a
try
wee
to
chat
attack
before
me.
I end stream.
You may have learned
Thanks again,
during your
Daz,
quest
and to the
that
others
gems
for the
play
raids,
an
much
essential
appreciated.
part in the trial of champions.
Right, I'm back.
The iron door in
Welcome
front
back.
of you is the victory exit,
Daisy things going on.
but there is only one way of opening it. 3 gems have to be put into the lock mechanism in the correct order. Each gem radiates a unique energy, which will trigger the mechanism. If you do it correctly, that is. But first, we need the correct gems. First, you will need an emerald.
What's this?
The
Like
gnome
take 3?
smiles
Take
and
4?
says, you truly
Technically
are a
take
great
5,
adventurer.
but we kind of skipped take 3 and
Now,
4. Because
You will also
well,
need
take 3, the leprechauns took
sapphire.
your gems,
Little bastards.
and take 4, we found the
gnome,
garnet, but we didn't find the
still
diamond.
smiling, says excitedly, excellent. Just 1 to go. Lastly, you'll need a diamond.
Da, 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 da. We have all 3.
The gnome jumps in the air,
Hey.
yelling, well done! Nobody has ever managed to find all 3 gems before. Now get ready for the final test, which I will explain once and once only. As you can see, the lock on this door has 3 slots labeled A, B, and C, each of which is built to
And we have
accept a
3
specific
gems.
gem.
1, 2, 3.
You have to put one of the 3 gems in each of the slots in the correct order. If you manage this at the first attempt, fine. However, if you put the gems in the wrong slots, you will be blasted by a bolt of energy from the lock, causing you injury. So choose carefully. I'm allowed to help you a little. If you place one gem in its correct slot but get the other two wrong, I shall shout 1 crown and 2 skulls. If you place all 3 gems incorrectly, I shall shout 3 skulls. You will be allowed to try again and again until you either succeed or die. Are you ready?
This is why I
Signal
wanted you
your
to come here
readiness
with
with a nod of the
provisions
head
and not lose them all in
and
the
walk
river.
forward to place the
Yay!
3 gems in the slots.
So we do still have
For
3
your first
provisions, and
try,
we do still have your
decide
potions.
now which gems you will place in the labelled slots.
Now, unfortunately, this is the part where I cannot help you because, as I think you may have heard when I spoke to Tons last week, this is in a completely random order.
Ah, okay.
So when Tons completed this last week, it was completely different to the way Axion and I found it off stream the
Okay.
original time. So we have 3 gems, 3 slots, and it is up to you to find the correct order.
Right, let's start with the emerald in C.
Okay, emerald and C.
Diamond in A.
Okay.
And sapphire in B.
Okay, so as soon as I put this in, the it should either go. What are the options? 3 skulls, which is all 3 of them in the wrong place. 3 crowns, which means it's completely correct and we've cracked it first time. Or 1 crown and 2 skulls, which means only one of these is in the right place.
Okay.
So hopefully it's not the third one, because then that means we need to do some jiggery pokery with the stuff. So let's see if you are lucky.
You just have time to hear the gnome say, 1 crown and 2 skulls, before a white bolt of energy shoots out from the lock into your chest, knocking you unconscious. It's 1 dice plus 1 for the damage. You come to, and you are told
Needs
by
to
the
eat
gnome
something.
to try again.
Quickly chomp down a few
You know
of these.
you placed
We always
1
have more
gem
than-
in the
I
correct
guess
slot,
7.
but which one?
So down here it will show you the attempt you've already tried. So
Okay.
which gem do you want to keep in the same place?
The emerald.
Emerald and C, which means sapphire goes A, diamond goes B, correct?
Yeah.
Again, we're hoping for 3 crowns.
You just have time to hear the gnome yell, 3 crowns!
Way!
Before the lock clicks open. As the heavy door swings slowly outwards, the gnome rushes towards it, hurling the glass ball at your feet. Green gas escapes from the broken glass. I'm afraid we'll need to test your luck to see if you avoid inhaling it.
Oh.
7, looks
Covering your
good.
nose and
Oi.
mouth with your hand to avoid breathing in the gas. You follow the gnome through the open door. You enter another tunnel, at the end of which is the welcome sight of daylight. Much to your surprise, you see the gnome lying dead halfway down the tunnel. A crossbow bolt protrudes from the side of his head. The gnome, in his own bid for freedom, has fallen foul of Baron Succumvit's final trap. You walk past him and out into the brilliant sunshine.
Ah, sweet sun.
As soon as you appear at the tunnel exit, a large crowd begins to cheer and shout. You walk down a path lined with jubilant people towards a small rostrum, and there, sitting under a colourful bamboo umbrella, is Baron Succumvit. He looks astonished, as if he never expected anybody to come through his Deathtrap dungeon alive. Now the secret of Fang is known. As the Baron rises from his chair, you climb the steps to the rostrum, bow down before him, and watch as his cold eyes stare at you in utter disbelief. You smile grimly as he offers you his outstretched hand. To the deafening noise of the cheering people of Fang, Baron Succumvit opens the chest containing your prize of 10,000 gold
Money, money,
pieces.
money.
Then he places a laurel crown on your head and proclaims you the champion of Deathtrap Dungeon.
Hey.
Well, it only took me 5 tries, but there we go.
Yeah, we got there eventually.
That was pretty good.
Very nice. Managed to put it all in one. Peanut butter.
Am I the longest?
Well, on stream, yes. Technically, Axiom would be the longest if you count on and off stream because we had to sort of find everything the first time round. So,
Right. Okay.
but we shall see how you fare with. I don't think it's fair to put you against Dons from last week who one-shotter. But we'll see how the other 2 contestants do the next 2 weeks. But yes, thank you for joining us tonight and running the game.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been really good.
As customary with everyone else that I've played this with, any channels you'd like to shout out for yourself, for the people to see you at? Any YouTubes or Twitches that you might have?
No, I'm good. I'm alright.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you, Bella.
Right. I will deafen and speak to the lovely people before I send them off to somewhere else. But I will possibly catch you later on in one of the chats because I'll
Yeah.
probably jump in Rob's Discord once we're done.
Okay. Alright, mate.
Okay, I shall see you later.
See you later.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Alright, guys, that was a bit mental at the end there with the, what was it, technically a triple, but I think someone said Josh raided Glenn just as he raided, so that was a bit mental. So yeah, a Stan, technically Josh and Glenn, and a Daz raid. That was mental. But yes, this was a choose your own adventure style game where you have to navigate through a dungeon. There are a lot of books that do this. I think they're mainly called like fighting fantasy books, where you read a page and at the bottom of the page it'll be like, oh, if you do this option, turn to page 50, but if you want this option, turn to page 120, and then you have to work through the book in a weird order. So in this case, decisions were given to you at certain stages. Some were good, some were bad, some were insta-kills. There are quite a few insta-kills throughout this, which is why it's nice to give you save points. For single-player adventurers, I'd say. But yes, Kate managed to successfully get through. I used to do so many of these books back in school since we had them in the library. Yeah, a lot of them will be out there. I think even Goosebumps tried a sort of a choose your own adventure style one. I can't remember what it was called, but I do remember Goosebumps having one of them. I'll maybe need to look that up for next week. I do remember them having one. What else did I miss? Dark Child and Terrible General. Thank you for the follows. Much appreciated. But yes, I'm going to be ending stream here as the dungeon has no more secrets for this week. This will be back next Wednesday or Thursday. I still have 2 more contestants lined up for this series. And hopefully by the time I do Series 2, there will be another one of these games out, but there hasn't been much talk about that yet. J Brent, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. So let me have a quick look and who is currently on from the SR people. Actually, before I leave, we'll do the quick plug as always. So make sure to check out that link to see who from SR is online at any time. Make sure to follow my Twitter, where my schedule gets posted every Monday or Tuesday. And last but not least, some of the VODs that I have from streams end up on YouTube. They don't get edited, they just get added fully. So if you fancy checking some of them out, that is the YouTube link. But let us quickly find who is still online. We have... Once I actually click following, that would help. We have... only Rob and Callie. And it looks like Callie got... I think he must have got the knife raid, I'm not too sure. But we'll send you over to Rob. Because Rob's always very helpful for me, so... Rob's playing some Dark Souls 2 against Severo, one of his mods. So yes, thanks to everyone that stopped by, much appreciated for the follows, the bits, and the raids. The many raids that happened. I'm back on tomorrow with Minecraft SevTech Edition with some of the SR guys. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, everyone. And yeah, streaming tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday by the sounds of things. But if I do change anything, I'll update Twitter to let you know. But go show Rob some love, and I will catch you guys hopefully soon. See ya.